You ever just want to like rap into the mics?
No, never.
When you do a mic check?
I know I can't rap, so no, never.
Did you ever freestyle?
He was just, Brady was just rapping as he walked in here.
I was actually, but
Really?
it's inappropriate.
He was saying a lot of very inappropriate things. I said, what the hell song are you singing?
I love that.
So I listened to it when I was running last night.
Yeah, I listen to Dre. I listen to Tupac. And I listen to a lot of Eminem when I'm working out.
What Tupac song?
Cannot repeat it.
And I told him, I don't take you as a rap guy when you work out. When I look at him,
What do you take him as?
I do listen to, I was telling him too, I'd listen to Coetzel. Like,
I mean, I get it, but I don't see that either. I see like sad country. And while you're running, that's what I see from Brady.
Oh gosh. Sad country. You don't listen to sad country like very few times in life.
Sad country's good though, even if you're not sad.
Yeah.
In my opinion, some George Strait.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good sad songs.
George Strait's a goat. In fact, first concert I ever went to in Vegas was with George Strait. It was at George Strait here in T-Mobile.
George Strait?
Yeah,
That dude's a stud.
that was legendary.
We used to listen to George Strait. We had a little boombox in the back of the boat when we were boat fishing.
Oh yeah, Cowboys Like Us.
Just playing like
Guy's a stud.
whatever the 50 number one albums.
Yeah.
We had CDs back in the day, Omar. You know what CDs are?
Yes.
Do you ever have cassette tapes? Because I also had cassette tapes back
I
in
had
the day.
cassette tapes.
No.
Yeah.
You probably went to some like thrift shop to get them. You never went to like
That
an
is
actual
back.
store to get.
Remember when Sony came out with the TrackMan CD player
Yeah.
that was skip proof, so you could actually like run in it one and skip? That was a big deal in our life. I'll never forget. That came out when I was in 8th grade.
We also had the mini CDs for a little bit too.
What year were you in the 8th grade?
Shit, I don't know, year. I have no idea. I graduated high school in 06, so do the math.
I don't want to do math right now. It's too early.
Me either.
06. I was born in 97.
You were born in 97?
That's when I entered this world. Yeah.
Wow.
Could be worse. Could be like 01.
I mean, it might as well be.
My sister's 01.
Might as well be. So your sister talks funny, uses all those weird words.
She's worse. Maybe. No, she's good. She's studying to be a doctor.
No,
Oh,
it
she's
uses
good then.
no who uses really weird words. It's freaking Trail.
Well, because he's got his kids in high school.
He was telling
Yeah,
me he was
true.
saying like bet the other day and like
Yeah.
cap, like no cap, and I'm like, what do these things mean, Trail?
He
This-
talks like his kid.
I literally had to look it up before I responded to Trail's text. Like I have no clue what that means.
No way.
Yeah.
He's got 2 kids in high school. It's understandable.
Yeah.
Like why can't kids these days just actually say the words? It takes longer to say the way they say it because no one really understands it, so you have to explain it again. It's like Kevin in The Office. Me say less words, save more time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, no, Kevin, you're actually making it harder because no one can understand you.
That's a great
I
episode.
just,
Yeah.
it's because it's cool, man. They want to be cool. That's what it all is. They're all trying to be
English in
cool.
itself is cool, man. Just keep it normal.
Communication.
Not the UK English, though.
It's true.
I mean, they got some pretty funny words for.
It sounds
certain
funny,
things.
but
Yeah.
doesn't sound cool like our English.
Oh, so you think you're better than them?
I think we're better than them now. How many Super Bowls do they got?
That's a very good point.
My Siri voice on my phone is set up for like their accent.
The English accent?
Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
Because I think it's cool.
See, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
These kids think it's cool.
Kids think it's cool.
No cap.
No cap, dude.
We got Omar back.
Young Omar.
Remember I said he's not young Omar anymore.
I can't get over not calling him.
He's
young
advanced
Omar.
now.
He has.
He's like,
We'll get into that today. He is wildly advanced,
yeah.
but I
He's had-
still just can't get over calling him young Omar.
And I think I said it after we got back from our bear hunt. He's like, he's no longer young Omar. I can't remember what I said you are, but like you're something else now. You
Man.
graduated.
Yeah.
Medium Omar.
No, come on.
Yeah, what I saw the day and a half I was helping, he's graduated from young Omar, but I'm still gonna call him that.
Yeah, even the grind.
Yeah.
The 6.5 days before that too. Like,
I know that's what I want to get into. But even like Scott Christensen started with us as director of refrigerator cleanliness. Mm-hmm. And I still call
Really?
him that.
yeah, that was we actually made business cards that said director of fridge cleanliness.
Yeah.
That's his business card. So we went to like
Yeah.
Hunt Expo,
No
and we
way.
were like
Yeah.
passing out business cards. People asked for a business card. He would hand out that one that said director of fridge cleanliness.
Yeah.
That was his card.
He has a very similar story to you, where when he walked in and was interviewing, like wanted a job with us, there was something about him where we were like, okay, we will, like he's going to land here in somewhere. We just don't have a job for him right now.
Yeah.
So we just made something up.
Yeah.
Just to get him.
Because he was like working in the warehouse for a little bit, right?
He was literally cleaning the break room is where he started as
Really?
an intern. Yeah. But we knew we didn't want him to go somewhere else and not have him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now he's our CFO. But I still call him director of fridge cleanliness.
Did he have a college degree when he was cleaning
Yeah, oh,
fridges? Really?
Yeah. He had
Shout out to Scott.
accounting, everything. He was
Wow.
doing a CPA thing, the whole
Damn.
deal. But he just wanted to work with GOHUNT.
I love Scott. Scott, if you're hearing this, I love you.
Yeah, we all do. But even though he's our CFO and he's, top dog now and gets to tell me no, which very few people can, but he can tell me no. I still call him director of fridge cleanliness. So that's why I'm going to continue to call you young Omar, no matter what happens.
No matter what happens, you got to remember your roots.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So tell Scott he can't forget where he came from.
And he'll always be young Omar because he was born in 97.
97. And all the debacles and everything. It's just, that's who you are to us.
It's fun.
It's like my kid. Turtle will always be Turtle to me. Like
Yeah,
he'll never
exactly.
grow to be, you know what I mean? In
Yeah.
my eyes, like he's not ever going to be Lorenzo. Like I'm
Yeah.
going to remember him as little Turtle.
That's-
Little
yeah.
shithead Turtle.
I always get like my aunts and uncles always, like even to this age, always call me like in Spanish, like my name in like Spanish, but like as like a little baby. And they always just say, I'll never,
What's your name in Spanish?
just Omarcito.
Well, what's the soccer player? The little guy? What do they call him? Chapito or something? No, that's Chapo's kids.
Yeah, Chapitos.
Chapito is.
Well,
Chapo's
that's what
kids.
it means though, kind of. That's like,
Yeah, it's like the
Big
kid of,
youngins, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't your Instagram handle also have Junior in it as
yeah,
well?
Junior.
That's why you're young Omar.
Young Omar.
Omar. Yeah.
Omarcito.
Omarcito. Guy, I should never told you that.
That he actually did. Is that what he graduated to? Is Omarcito?
No, that's like baby.
Even better.
Omarcito, is that what we're saying?
No, we're
Okay.
not.
Even
We're
That's
better.
what I'm going to start calling him.
Baby Omar.
Erase your memories the last minute and a half.
Oh man.
But you're back joining us again. And unfortunately, Trail is gone. Obviously, Trail right now is, I think, remember that old was it show or game where in the world is Carmen San Diego,
Yeah.
and then like where's Waldo, the type
Yeah.
of things, like all those, like where's Trail today? No one really knows. He could be off hunting, he could be off exploring some random part of the West, scouting. Like we don't know where Trail's at.
That's just Trail.
Trail, yeah.
Trail is the ninja.
I heard he had some tire issues this last week hunting, and
Yep.
his wife had some tire issues. So he's had a little rough go.
He's in the shit
Yeah.
for sure. It's like when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, he said he has a lot of bad luck right now, and I told him the best advice I gave Trail was what happened when I lost that giant deer in Colorado
Yeah.
back then. I was like, you got to shave off all the bad juju.
Yeah.
You got to shave off the face, complete baby face beard, get rid of it, get rid of your beard, go to baby face, and then also shave your hair.
He probably should do that.
needs
He
to go-
probably would too.
I'm hoping he comes back and he literally has like bald head and no facial hair. 'Cause I told him he needs to get rid of something in his life that's causing this bad luck.
Yeah, he needs a change of tides.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Trail. Wish you were here, bud.
Yep. Wish he was here as well.
He had some really good luck last year.
He did.
I mean, I still have a great year. It's just little,
Yeah. I mean, this is very,
Just a little hiccup.
yeah, first week.
little hiccup.
Yeah.
No.
Little adversity.
Yeah.
Back against the wall. Little adversity. Fight your way
Exactly.
out. That's all it is.
Down in the first, come back in the second.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
People trying to steal.
Got some good
his,
metaphors rolling here.
People trying to steal his family's credit card information. Like all sorts of shit happened to Trail.
Debit card.
Debit
Those
card,
are the
yeah.
real shitheads in the world.
So that's also why Trail's had a real rough time, but we wish him well.
We're here for you, bud.
If you're listening, Trail, miss you.
So this one's gonna be hosted by Brady Miller.
Yeah.
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 Love
Well,
that.
I mean, hosted by you because it's your hunt recap.
it's not hosted.
So
by me.
yeah. Technically, Omar is the
Featuring.
star of this one.
No.
Let's get that out there in the world right now. You're the star.
No. Not
But
a
as
star.
Trail would do right now, though, we should hit you guys with the promo code. Do you
Okay.
like that?
Look
You
at
like
that.
So yes, we are. Everyone knows what time of year we're in. It's hunting season, and you're gonna need some maps. You're gonna still need some research. I was still doing research the other day, trying to pick up some leftover tags in states I will not mention.
Did you get any?
I got in, but
Nothing good.
nothing good. And then I applied in a secondary draw in a certain state as well. Secondary controlled draw. That's all I'll say.
Ooh.
So people could probably figure out what
I know
state
which
that is.
state.
Yeah.
Now.
So I put $18 out in the line. A little gambling, you know. Throw
When do you know?
$18. A couple weeks, I think.
Yeah.
I probably didn't draw, but I figured
Hey,
you know
you
you
never know.
got to apply
Someone
because
has to
people
draw.
right now is what I think too is you forget about all these secondary draw and turn back tag opportunities because everyone's out hunting right now. So that's my
100%.
golden egg tip is constantly stay on this stuff.
Yeah.
So you need a tag in your pocket. You want some maps? Get Go Hunt Insider.
Yep.
Sign up using promo code podcast. We'll give you 50 points back to the Go Hunt Gear Shop, which is $50 that you can use to buy anything in the shop. And like I said, maps, research. So use those tools right now to pick up tags and to do some e-scouting, which I've also been doing. I'm not going to swear yet. A ton of e-scouting because I haven't had any hunts yet. But Omar,
Yeah.
gosh, you've had a hunt.
That was a good one.
hunt. Yeah, it was a good rip. Good rip into the backcountry. Do we want to talk about anything else though before we get into it? Like,
I got a lot of other stuff written down. I did.
Yeah, we're going to
jump
start
back.
from the beginning.
But yeah, I do have some other things we need to cover though.
What do we got to
We have
cover?
new stuff happening at Go Hunt.
What's
Yes.
It's a
new?
little segment we have to
Yes.
try to sneak in there because there's always things going on at Go Hunt that we talk about when we're walking around the office that we kind of forget to communicate to the world because we're sometimes bad at that.
We're very bad at that.
Yeah. So if people know last week, if you're listening, what was it? Or middle of August, we'll say. We
Yeah.
launched offline sharing.
Yes, we did.
So now when you're out in the field, the mobile device, no cell phone service, you can Bluetooth and share waypoints to each other. So you're going to go run somewhere that runs in the morning. You found a buck. You're going to give it to me or whatever. You can offline share it through Bluetooth. So that way we're on the same page of where we're going and where we're meeting up during the middle of the day, which is kind of a cool feature to have.
Came in
Yeah.
handy this last weekend for us.
yeah, I used it with Jordan, one of
Jordan
our buddies.
Bones.
Yeah, as we were splitting ways, I just sent them the waypoint that I wanted them to glass at, using that offline feature. So that was pretty cool.
Like that's like the biggest benefit. Like you
Yeah.
have someone who's coming to camp, is new, is going to come help, and they didn't get a chance to. You didn't get a chance to share that folder with them before.
Yeah.
So now you can just share some waypoints.
Yeah, exactly. Especially like sometimes, you could like point them in the right direction for where to glass, but like there's certain points on the mountain where like you really get a really good angle of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I was doing, just making sure it gets to that spot.
Yeah. So be sure to update your app to get the cool features. So I'm the type of person who checks the app store every single day because I just love updating
That's
all my
just
apps.
who you are.
So like I do want to have the most up to date app. So update your app.
And I'm the kind of guy that updates it when it no longer works and forces
Yeah.
me to
Forces you,
update. Yeah.
Me too.
So we have offline sharing. We also had a new feature too. We have trail slope.
Yes, we do.
So you're going to be able to check out the colors, which, colors are going to go from, yellow or green, yellow, red, I believe it is. So like
Yeah.
red's obviously nasty steep. And, as you get near greens and they're less harsh colors, they're going to be a little bit
How does a
more
guy like
gradient.
you tell what's what?
Exactly. It's very hard.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I was looking at it the other day, and I'm like, I can get the red a little bit, but then I don't get the other colors when they're next to each other again. And so I was just like, I just got to turn on freaking topo. And
I'm just going to buy you the colorblind glasses.
Yeah, eventually I need those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw someone on Instagram posted a thing the other day. I don't know if it was Sig or someone like that. Was like the little color wheel thing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see the color. They were trying to say, "Hey, let's see what the best glasses are." And I was like, yeah, "I can't see that color inside there. I don't know what number it is."
Do you remember like back in the day when those like pictures were going around, like what color is this dress?
Yeah.
Now I want to like bring all those pictures back up and see what you see.
I would probably be like, "It's the same."
He's gray.
Sees
Yeah.
They're all gray.
They're all black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So trail setup's a good pick. It's a good thing if you're
It
not
is.
colorblind.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool
Especially
thing for e-scouting.
efficiently planning the backcountry. It's a very good tool.
Yeah, because a lot of times there's like multiple trails that go to the same
Yeah.
place, and you can look at based on which one's going to be steeper. It's going to obviously you can get to both places easily, but why take the steeper one where you can exert more energy, burn more calories? You need more food. You don't want to burn
Yep.
your food. You don't want to burn your water. So
And it
go the
just takes
route that
more
may be a
time.
little bit easier.
Yeah.
Then we have some other new things drop in the shop.
Yes, we did.
We Go Hunt tarp,
Mm-hmm.
which we use on our bear hunt, but we actually never busted it out. We
Yeah.
had it one day. We took it out maybe for a second. So we had been testing it for a while. But Go Hunt Dyneema tarp.
Yeah, the funnest word ever to say. We said it
Dyneema.
like 100 times in last week in the backcountry. Dyneema.
Dyneema.
It is a sweet word.
I missed it when it was Cuban fiber. They changed
Really?
they changed the name back in the day.
It's Dyneema's much better. I didn't know that. I literally just learned that. Dyneema's way better.
Yeah.
But it's a badass material, and it's fun to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a win-win.
I love everything in Dyneema.
Yeah.
If we can make durable hunting backpacks that could be Dyneema, not get destroyed, sign me up.
I
Dry
agree.
bags, stuff sacks, everything Dyneema, sign me up.
We got those. We got dry bags, Dyneema dry bags, Dyneema tarp. Yeah, it's awesome. It's a really good material.
Waterproof.
Like
Yeah.
unreal waterproof.
Yeah.
I just like how strong, how like stiffer it is too
Yeah.
compared to like sil nylon. Because sil nylon tarps are great. I do have sil nylon tarps and use them. But then like even shelters, when you have sil nylon compared to Dyneema, it's just going to be a lot stiffer.
Yeah.
Like the material just is more rigid, I guess, when
Yeah.
you get wind and rain on it. Then we also have the GOHUNT Merino that it's not live yet in the shop, but
But it's here.
you guys have been testing it and using it.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
pretty badass. Chris Porter was wearing it the other day when we were out deer hunting, and
Trail's a big fan. He wore it at TAC. A lot of people were asking about it. Omar's a big fan. Porter. I'm not a merino guy, but it is soft. I do really like it, and it fits phenomenal.
Yeah,
Cut with the
fits
long
sick.
tail, it
Yeah.
fits so good.
Like it might be like I'm going to dinner and rocking my merino piece.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Like of all the apparel companies out there, like gear companies, and then there's phenomenal ones. I mean, obviously, right? Like all the big dogs, Stone Glacier, Kuiu, Seagull. None of them cut the tail long enough
I
on
know,
these base
yeah.
layers, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
yep.
Like
like a
none of
crop
them are,
top.
none of them have that drop tail. So like you either have to tuck it in and look like a, like a corporate hunter. I just don't like that. I just don't like that look. Like cut the tail long. That's what that's, you can do whatever you want when you're making your own gear. So
Yeah.
yeah, we have the long tail and long sleeve. It's awesome. Fits fantastic.
That's what I like too about all of our like clothing stuff and our just general GOHUNT private label products is like the amount of testing we've done on these things.
That's the funnest part.
Yeah.
It's
like they've gone through so many different
Yeah.
like iterations and
We've gone
like
through
our
a lot.
ideas and like thumb hole should be this, that. Like Lorenzo's talking about the length of a piece.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
weight merino is going to be great. Like even the approach hoodies, like
Yeah.
going through all those testing, like just to
The
make them
Black
look
Rock.
good today. Black Rock, yeah.
Rock's great.
Yeah.
It's like if you're gonna do thumb holes too, why would you have like normal cut sleeve length if you're gonna do thumb holes?
Yeah,
Right.
So it's
they
just
need to be
pulling
longer.
the whole time.
Yeah.
It needs to be longer so it just sits nicely. It's not just
Otherwise,
pulling
for me
tight.
on some other ones, they
Yeah.
just like I feel like I'm losing circulation.
It makes your thumb sore.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. These gear companies are so good, but none of them have like proper length sleeve for thumb holes or long cut tails. It's
Yeah.
weird.
And I'm not a thumb hole guy. And if you're not a thumb hole guy, like you don't feel it too. Like it's not like
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean?
nice and tucked.
Yeah,
hidden.
nice and tucked.
Yeah, I got two more plugs,
Yes.
and we can get on to the thing. But these are very important though, so you got, don't skip through this section.
Yeah.
So if you jump on the website right now on GOHUNT.com, I'm just going to plug it because I love written content. So sorry guys, we're doing a bunch of
No way,
It's
Brady.
going to benefit you guys though over there, Lorenzo and Omar. I'm putting out there a lot of badass elk content.
Okay.
So I want people to know if they have an elk tag in their pocket, wants to know some strategies about trying to kill some bulls, trying to kill your first bull, maybe a bigger bull, whatever it may be. Doing a lot of elk content right
You
now.
want people to know that elk are the best.
Yes.
I want people to hunt
It
elk
comes
so they
out.
forget about mule deer, so that I can go hunt mule deer and not have competition.
Trail's gonna be so happy if he is
Did
listening.
you hear
to
that
this.
Brady excuse that he just gave you?
Yes, I did, and I didn't even like.
But wait,
Register
I do have something I heard from Omar that I will direct quote it later in the podcast. And it's not something you probably think he said, but he did say it. I should have recorded him.
I think I know what he said.
I'm still
when
thinking of it.
I think I know what he said.
Yeah. So check out GOHUNT website though. We have even like a lot of YouTube videos going live right now. And on these articles, a lot of them do have YouTube video components as well. So if you're not a word guy, you can actually watch some of these videos. We do have a lot of elk tips from people who have killed a lot of elk in the Southwest. So be sure to check out all those. They're
Sweet.
easily accessible on the homepage right now.
Sweet. I'm gonna check those out too.
And then the
'cause
last thing.
I'm getting excited.
Today, well, man, by the time you guys listen to this, SIG, who's a sponsor of our podcast, we all love them.
Shout out Sig.
Shout out SIG. Dropped their new Zulu 6 HDX Pro binos.
Pro.
Those are the new
The
image
new-news.
stabilized binos.
They're
that
awesome.
Lorenzo might have accidentally mentioned earlier this year.
Sorry, Sig. I was just so excited.
But now we can finally
hide
talk
it.
about them.
Amazing products and even better people, if you can believe it.
Yeah, so the new news are 50 mil objectives, 14 power, 16 power, 18 power. They got some refined coatings on the lenses, so it's making brighter. But like I've been testing them. I don't know, month and a half or something like that.
We've been
the
using
field.
them for a bit now.
Yeah, Trail used them on his bear hunt this spring too. He got to test out a prototype. They're definitely brighter in low light situations.
100%.
So when I was hunting with Porter the other week, like I could glass twilight hours very, very
Do
easily.
you take both of them to like go back and forth?
I compared back and forth. Yep. And I like the new ones are bigger. So that's something people need to be aware of. They're going to be a little bit more weight. They're a little bit boxier, like width and height. They're a little bit
You got to
taller.
go large bino harness.
You got a larger bino harness. But for the guys who want brighter optics because they're more low light hunters.
And bigger power.
And the power range is really awesome. 14, 16s, and 18s. I know you took
Been
the 14s.
using the 14s, yeah.
I think 16s is perfect. But yeah, the new ones are out. So we're going to have them here in the GOHUNT gear shop. You guys should check out. So if you were looking at some of these, well, now you got the new ones to check out too. The old ones are still going to be great as well. The new one also, I want to say, combines the target and scan mode.
Yeah.
So you no longer have to flip the switch multiple times to engage into the target mode.
Yep.
And so now it just combines them all into one. I can't remember the exact terminology right now off the top of my head.
But it essentially like automatically notices you're locked on.
And you're locked on, and then it will go into the further mode. So yeah.
Those binos are so, like, especially as an archer.
Incredible.
I was using, I'm not going to say, I mean, I had just some non-stabilized binos. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Because I don't own a pair of the Zulu 6s besides the 10x30s. I should have just taken them.
You should have just taken them.
But yeah.
What did you do? Honestly, what did you do? What's the story?
I called a friend.
Who'd you call?
You.
Yeah, and what'd you tell me?
I need the Zulu 6s.
You said, please bring me the Zulu 6s. Okay,
yeah.
I'll bring it.
So I just looked it up. So basically, it's called OmniScan, the new ones,
Okay.
and the Pro HDX. So basically, it's a software update which seamlessly blends scan and target modes using a digital accelerometer to automatically adjust degree of stabilization based on movement. The slower the binos move, the greater degree of stabilization applied, and vice versa. So OmniScan eliminates the need to toggle between settings, delivering the most advanced stabilization experience SIG's ever created.
Wow.
Look at us, dude. We're doing so good for SIG.
Yeah.
Look at us.
And like I said, I've had him in the field, Trail set in the field. You had him literally this weekend on Omar's hunt. So we put him to the paces, and you can pick him up in the GOHUNT gear shop.
Yeah.
So use that promo code podcast. Use that 50 points you get
On the new SIGs.
on the new SIGs, and you can get them in time for hunting season.
Yes.
So pretty sweet, badass. But now let's get back to what we really wanted to talk about.
I watched Omar's buck die in those new 14s.
That's right, you did say that. That's one thing you told me. I was trying to
watched
avoid the whole story about you guys' hunt because I wanted to plaster you.
Everyone knows young Omar is successful by this point. We'll get into the stories of it. But yeah, man, I was digiscoping. So I obviously, looking through a phone, I don't want to do that. So I just picked up the 14s, the new ones from a long ways away, and watched that deer run off and do triple front flip. And
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Yeah. That was crazy.
You got to start from the beginning, though.
Start from the
I
beginning.
just saw that smile, that nice bright smile. You want to go right to the end of it.
So there he was.
We got to start at the beginning.
So
there
there
he was,
was.
1997.
Wet
born.
behind the ears. Knew I was going to be a bow hunter.
Yeah. It's funny because none of my family hunts, which is
Yeah.
a different story in itself. But we could start from the beginning of the hunt.
Yeah. How'd you find the hunt?
I actually,
You got
it's
notes?
funny.
Omar has notes.
I was looking through here and I'm not going to show the camera, but I have notes of like the units that I wanted to apply for and like my
Yeah.
odds and everything. I'm old
I'm a
school.
I'm a notebook guy, too. That's
Like you
what I
could do it all in the unit profiles and stuff like that and inside GOHUNT, but I like to just take notes.
I'm a chicken scratch guy. I just write a bunch of notes in random spots.
Go back and
Yeah.
forth. Yeah. So that's truly the beginning. Should we say his state? I mean, people know his state.
Yeah. You're not Brady.
Do what you want, Omar.
I'll just say it's my home state. So if you know
There
where I
you go.
live, you know where I was.
Yeah.
Proud to call it my home state now because it's not my true original home state, but I feel like 2 years kind of is a
Yeah.
precedent to
Yeah.
living here. Yeah, so I was just doing my research, found like units that I want to apply for, and just quickly like the backstory. Like I usually like to go in the maps and go to like 10,000 feet because I want to kind of hunt like that high alpine. I've always had the dreams for high alpine. As much as like it's scary to be in, but like be in those thunderstorms and really be in like the suck of like a high country hunt and experience that. So that's what I was kind of going for this year here in my home state. And then I remember I was on a podcast earlier with you guys and I said something about I'm just going to hunt Arizona, like hunt deer tag there in August. Like I'm not going to apply to Nevada.
Yeah.
And you guys were like,
The
back up.
OTC Arizona tag compared to what you guys like, no. hold on, Omar.
We all jump down your throat.
Yes.
and said,
Like, bro, you are a resident here.
Exactly.
Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Do you always apply in your resident state?
I don't know
always.
what I was thinking.
yeah. But that's the cool part, though. It's like you're young into your
Yeah.
application journey. So, like, in your mind, it might make sense either way, but like listening to us talk, how we talk about like you're a resident here, you should apply smartly here in the state because you always can get
Yes.
lucky. And a tag here in your home state is going to be better than any out of state
If
tag.
you want to be a hunter, apply in your homes. Apply in multiple states for sure. Like, give yourself the best opportunity.
Especially
But
when you're comparing those OTC to that, where it's like,
Right.
not like it's not like you drew like the strip tag and then you're trying to compare it to hunting here.
It's the opportunity of your neighboring state, which everyone should be taking advantage of. But if you're going to be a hunter, the number one state on your list of applications, your resident state,
Right.
Like just your
Best
go-to.
odds. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I wasn't connecting the dots of like kind of.
Yeah, we yelled at you.
Yeah.
You were young Omar.
Yeah. So that's what's kind of cool too. Is
You
like
were Omarcito at that time.
Yeah, the straight rookie mistake. So I applied, took you guys' advice, looked at units, and what's cool too is like, I mean, yeah, like I know, some of the shoot for the stars units here in Nevada, but I really applied to a unit where I really had like no intel at all, and just kind of like, that looks like a good spot, go there. So it was truly just based on my own research and data. So I applied, figured out I drew the tag when I was going to run a ultra marathon, which was cool. So I was like, all right, sweet. Like now I got something early, and this ultra is going to benefit me eventually in the
Then you
backcountry.
push harder on the ultra.
Then you push harder on the ultra, yeah. Yeah, so did that, and then did some scouting, some e-scouting, and then did some actual scouting in the field. I had a weekend.
So on your application in Nevada, you shot for the stars first.
Yes.
And so just so everyone's aware, Nevada is a 5-choice state, and they take all 5 choices just on your first, when you get pulled out of the barrel.
Yeah.
The state looks at all 5. So that's why, we're talking shoot for the stars on your first 1 or 2 and then go to the more
Yep.
drawable ones.
Yes.
Which choice did you draw?
This was my third choice, actually.
So you drew third choice.
Yeah, I drew my third choice, and I wanted to tailor all my hunts for archery. So I didn't do like any shoot for the star rifle or nothing like that. I just wanted to strict
Shoot for the star archery hunts and then worked your way down.
Yeah. So I worked my way down like that. That's kind of how I applied. Drew the tag, my third choice. I thought I was going to for sure draw a couple other units that were kind of familiar here with the office, because I had 2 points going into it, and I thought for sure I'd go there. But I got my third choice, which I only had. I don't even want to say the percentage because I don't want people to figure out.
Low percent,
Low
but it's your
percent.
resident state.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah, drew that, and then was excited, was nervous. I'd always dreamed about a high country mule deer hunt. I had actually been on one before in Colorado, and it was just one of those, like I was out there for 4 days, got my butt kicked, quit, went back home, and it was just like you just run into this mental mindset of like, what am I even do here? And but I don't know, it happens when you're like just getting into hunting. It's hard. It's not easy by any means.
It's extremely hard.
Yeah. It's,
The best thing I think you kind of said there, and I know if you're going to say after this, but like you said, you quit.
yeah.
Like, I think that's good for people to experience really shitty things early on in hunting and then persevere and change that and be like, you don't ever want to feel that shitty feeling again about like, why did you quit? Like, you probably think now like that was dumbest thing ever. Like, I quit on a hunt before too.
Yeah.
Totally regretted.
We all
I
have.
regretted the whole drive home. I was like, I was an idiot. What am I doing right now? Why am I changing my schedule to go home because of some stupid reason I wanted to be at home? Like, I had a tag. I left early. That was the worst decision I've ever made in my life.
I've done the same thing too.
And so because of those shitty moments, I think I'm a better hunter now because I realized like that was dumb.
Absolutely. And that's like one of the, I can't remember what number podcast it was, but when we talked about like, you're going to have, especially bow hunting, you're going to have those crazy low times of being a bow hunter.
A lot of times.
And having your life in order before you leave, your family life in order, your work life in order, so you can really just genuinely check out and in full send on the 10 days you're going or the 8 days you're going. Because when you're in those lows, if you don't have your house in order before you left, when you're in that low on day 4, it's going to be way easier to quit because you're going to have all those thoughts in your head that you need to go back home and fix and do what you didn't do before you left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's how I know he's stronger now than he ever was before because like, we'll get into it, but he had a tough hunt.
Very tough.
And he could have said, I'm packing it up and going home. This is like, why am I doing? I'm wasting my time. I should be getting ready for hunts further on, like you have a big filmed hunt with Lorenzo, like you should be preparing for that, setting up a different bow, like shooting more, and just leave. But you didn't. You stayed there because you're mentally fucking tough.
There we go.
There we go, baby.
26 minutes in, we're good.
Yeah, I can say it now.
So there was a hunt where I quit, and I remember like thinking like I never want to do that again, because I mean I just quit and I went home to go lay in bed, and like I'm like, what am I doing?
Omarcito.
Yeah. But you know, as hunters, it's, you know, something that we all, I'm sure we all have done, and if you haven't,
You will.
you probably will.
It's either you have or you will.
Especially in the backcountry.
For
like,
sure.
It was
No
my
question.
first ever backcountry hunt, like for longer than 3 days.
Yeah. And it was solo.
And it was solo.
That's a lot easier to quit on those too.
Yeah, especially when you're just like not finding it. Yeah, you just convince yourself to quit. You know, if you ran marathons and stuff like that, had like a distance that you want to run, a weight that you wanted to get to, like no, screw this. Like I'm take the easy way out, cut the line. So yeah, went scouting, and instantly to the spot that I went to.
When did you scout? What were the dates on that again?
It was like July. What was it? It was like it was like the second to last week of July, I think, because I think we had like Cam Hanes events. I had
right.
4th of July weekend. I went to North Carolina, so it was like the only weekend I could get out and scout. and then we had TAC. That's what it was. Yeah, so it was the only weekend I could get out and scout. Had an area picked out. Had a trailhead that I want to go check out. I knew it was going to be far and deep, and I had no idea if I was going to find bucks. But went back there, picked a spot in the map. Kind of had a trailhead that I wanted to hit. Hiked in, left work Friday at like 3 o'clock, and then got to the trailhead late. There was a big thunderstorm and rain and stuff, so I just slept in the truck in my cab, not in the bed, in the cab.
That's the Omar way.
That's the
You
Omar
sleep in the cab.
Slept there, woke up early, like 3 a.m., and then hiked in the dark a little bit. And then as sunrise hit, kind of had a glassing point that I wanted to hit, which was only like 2 miles in on the trail. But that first part of the trail, it's like super steep, so it takes quite a bit long to get in there. And then I just like figured I'd just set up in glass here. Like I want to let my eyes do the walking. I had the BTX and some heavy glass to really check out the country and pick everything apart. So I set up the BTX and started glassing from a vantage point. Wasn't seeing like bucks right away, but I started seeing like red bodies like further away on the tops of the hills. So I knew that evening what my plan was to hike into where I saw those red bodies and kind of tailor my scouting to that area, to the tops of the peaks. Little did I know it was going to be like a mile hike into where I ended up camping, and there's no water, so I had to get my water from down low. That time it didn't matter because it was like a day and a half that I was in there scouting. But I got to my camp spot and instantly found bucks, which was a pretty cool feeling.
It's always a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's always good.
Throw up the binos and it's like, oh, there's a buck. There's a buck. That's a mature buck.
That's the best
That's a mature
when
buck.
they're in
best.
summer coats and they're
Yeah.
velvet and they're out in the open more
Yeah.
and you glass them. They're just kind of lackadaisical walking around. Like that's
High country summer bucks are awesome to
That's
glass.
so sick.
yeah. I just want to jump back there too and say like how nice it must be, like the whole must be nice thing.
Yep.
Young Omar, born in '97. He's barely, what are you, 27 years old?
27.
And you just mentioned earlier, he's like, oh yeah, put up the BTX and glass.
Must be nice.
Like what would you have done when you're 27 years old if you had access to borrow a BTX at the office that you worked at?
That would have been nice.
Yeah.
That would
Like
have
when he's
been
just,
really nice.
casually tossing out like, yeah, I busted out the BTX. I'm just like thinking like, man, I bought my BTX 4 years ago. My wallet hurt forever, and now we have one here at the office that, you know, we let people borrow it, and so
Yeah.
Omar got to borrow it.
Office BTX.
Office
Great.
BTX.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I just glassed him with the
little
BTX. I thought that
shithead.
was
It's not my personal one, by the way. It wasn't a flex.
yeah. I thought it was really funny. Just like, yeah, because it's a game changer. Being able to glass with two eyes. Like you were even talking to me before you went. Like, should I bring the BTX or not? And I was like, well,
Yes.
it's you always do. It's not the best for digiscoping off of, but for finding bucks, if that's all your goal is, and look long ways,
the best.
that's
Yeah.
the best.
Yeah.
I brought the BTX and my Vortex 65 because one for Digiscope and one
Digiscope,
for
yes,
finding
yes,
bucks.
yeah,
My
yeah.
pack was insanely heavy, but
Sometimes it's worth it though. On the scouting trips to go crazy heavy. Like even though a lot of people are like, oh, scouting trips you can go lighter. You don't have a weapon. You don't
Use
have
it
all
as
the weight for
training.
food.
Yeah.
Use it as training. Bring
Yeah.
all the optics you can because it's like you never know which
I
situation can
genuinely
arise.
like those trips. I go intentionally heavy, like real heavy. Use it as training.
yeah. So I did that. Was instantly finding bucks, and I was excited. Like I mean, I had been scouting before this was, I guess, like my third mule deer tag. I had one in my home state, my true home state, Washington, but I didn't hunt it because I moved here and scouted there, was finding bucks and all that stuff. But I was excited. I was in a pretty good unit. I was finding mature animals, and I was like, this is sweet. Like, I'm through the moon right now. As a hunter right now, I'm like, yes, I see the light at the end of the tunnel right now.
Is that because you're hunting mule deer? That's why you see the light?
Mule deer are cool. Oh, they're super cool. Don't look at me like that. You love mule deer too.
Keep going.
Yeah, so I saw, and then instantly, like, I realized, I think I know how to hunt them, but like, I really don't know how to, hunt mule deer. I've never stalked mule deer in my life. I've only got close to resident bucks probably. So instantly I had service on the mountain and I called trail. It was like Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon. And I was like, hey, what's up? What are you doing? And I just started picking his brain on mule deer and like, how they act and how if like right now, if I was hunting, how I'd approach them. He's like, yeah, like what I would do is watch them right now and then wake up in the morning tomorrow, see where they're at. We'll bed them, wake up the next day in the morning, see where they're at, see where they're going to bed for the afternoon. Make sure, like, wait 30 minutes or so they don't read bed because they bed a lot in summer. And then, once you kind of find, like, their first bed, I'd make a move there and kind of stalk them that way because they're going to be in their first bed for quite a bit of time. And then they're going to get up to feed again. So I was like, oh, sweet. So, like, I'm kind of walking through the process in my head, trying to, like, work through it mentally. And then also like kind of be in the moment of like, look at these different shoots that I could work, look at the topography on the map to how I could stalk these animals where they're not going to get my scent, really understand the thermals and what they're doing in the mountain. So I was getting a lot of data, getting a lot of intel. And I knew like coming back into the hunt, I was going to have a mountain of work. And that's exactly what kind of happened. So yeah, that was a little bit of the scouting process.
I want to stop you there though, but I think that's like a very good thing that he was doing. And knew to call someone with experience to like help him walk it through it because you're not only trying to find deer. That's like obviously the main goal. You want to find a big giant buck when you're out scouting. Yeah. You want to map the area, confirm that you did e-scouting properly and found an area where the bucks are. But then also what you were doing is taking in that data to figure out how you would approach things during the hunt. So like you said, you're analyzing where they're bedding, where they get up and moving, where going to be their second bed. What timber patch are they kind of liking? Like, what's the thermals potentially doing? Visualizing in your head, I could probably stalk around here. Maybe get to that tree, come down. Like, you're acting like you're hunting almost, but you're scouting still. So I think it's very valuable to, like, put yourself in the hunt mode. Like, how would I approach these bucks right now? They're here right now. They're bedded. They're going to move. Where's the second bucks? Where's all the other little bucks that are maybe hanging around a big giant deer? How would you do it? I think that's very valuable to visualize and then manifest. You're also manifesting your success later because you're just walking through your head. So then when you go in the stock later on, you feel like you've already done it.
Yeah.
It's very important, I think, for people to do.
I agree.
Yeah.
And you were talking about like real world situations because you can sit in the office all day long and daydream. Well, if a buck did this and how would I hunt it? And if a buck did that, how would I hunt it? But you were actually calling trail on what they were actually doing in your unit, like real time data on those exact deer. That's a really good way to go about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say if anyone out there listening has access to someone who's a pretty successful, don't go hopping in Trail's DMs. I mean, sure you can and he'd respond, but if you got access, I mean, that's part of probably the best benefit of working with you guys is I could pick your guys' brains on a lot of what to do and a lot of like my approach, which has helped.
Yeah.
A lot, truly a lot, and forever thankful for that. So yeah, picked his brain for a little bit. And he told me just to watch them the next day, kind of see what they do, see what their behavior patterns are, and did that. Packed off the mountain mid-afternoon just to get home in Vegas at a decent hour, so had work the next day. So yeah, drove back, and after that, I was just shooting the bow like a madman and getting it all dialed in. I had got new strings on, so I wanted to shoot those in. New sight that I was going to shoot, so I wanted to make sure that was all dialed.
Now, I do want to throw it out there. You were tuning your bow quite a bit and shooting your bow.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was getting it dialed.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
You can tell you're addicted to it.
What's that?
Like addicted to setting your bows.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
It's fun. That's a part of that. like getting everything logistically ready drives me nuts. Like
Yeah.
I'm such a procrastinator on that because I just don't like that part. The bow stuff, dude,
So fun.
that's the fun part.
See,
I can
even,
shoot bows.
even earlier today when we were sitting in my office and I was talking about the soft knocks and everything, and I was
Yeah.
like, it was like getting the fire built back on me
Yeah.
again. Because like
It's fun.
I love bow tuning. I don't
It's
bow
so
hunt
fun.
anymore, but I love tuning process. It's fun.
And to just
Yeah.
get that bullet hole in paper and
There's no better feeling.
300 FPS and everything's just solid. You're like, hell yes.
Yeah,
let's roll.
everything tearing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing. I was at like it was the same setup that I shot my bull last year with, but for some reason I switched out my arrows just a tiny bit, but the tune was off and
Yeah.
timing was off a little bit for some weird reason. So could have been like the new strings and just I don't know. So yeah, I had to get that dialed in, which I did. Changed top hats and got everything shooting right. Built some new arrows. So yeah, I was working on the bow and getting up early, going to the range, shooting. I shot a lot at 50 through 80. Like I never even shot really 20, 30, 40 just to make sure the pin was
Yeah.
on at 20, 30, 40. And a couple times walk through the process like Crispy does. He does like I think 20 through 100 before
Yeah.
he leaves on a hunt. So I did that a couple times. But most of my practice came at 60 to 80, which actually ended off like really paying off in the long run. And then another thing was just like checking that third axis, first, second, and third axis, making sure it's
Yeah.
all dialed. I think, as a green hunter, that's something that I really never practiced that much. Yeah, like my second and third were probably on, but I don't think I ever really practiced the shots a lot. So practicing a lot downhill, practicing a lot uphill. So I was doing that, and I think I was doing that for like 2 weeks, and then it was go time. It was time to go. Got all my ducks in a row. I don't have a family like in terms of like wife and kids.
Must be nice.
But I have work, and so I made sure all my ducks were in a row. It worked, some long hours, but to go hunting and to like be able to leave and like have the peace of mind that like all right, sweet, everything that
You
did,
listened to that old podcast we did.
I must have.
Get all your shit ready so
Yeah.
you can just check out for real for 10 days.
So yeah, I got my ducks in a row, and then Friday hit, and it was a drive to my area, to my unit where I was gonna hunt. I left the office at like 6 on Friday, and I didn't get there till late. Luckily, there was no bad weather or nothing, so I was able to hike in and got to not my camp spot because it was like 7 miles in, but I got to where it was going to be all downhill. It was going to be pretty easy for a long ways until I had to go uphill again. That night at like 3 or 4 in the morning, laid out, it was clear sky, so I laid out the tarp actually and used it as like a little Tyvek pad so
Yeah.
my sleeping pad didn't pop, and just slept under the stars, and woke up the next morning, had some coffee, glassed for a little bit just in that area, make sure I wasn't missing anything, but I knew where I wanted to get to, and then hiked in that area, and then sure enough, got water at the bottom. I should have brought another like bag of water because I only brought 6 liters. Yeah, brought like 8 liters worth that I could take up, which in the end proved to kind of not be the most adequate setup. So definitely make sure you bring some more water up. Even what I actually should have done is rewind when I figured out when I was scouting that I was going to need water at the top. I should have just like figured out something to, go in an afternoon or something and go stash some water because it would have helped me out.
I used to
Yeah.
stash water
Yeah.
here in the
Or-
state quite a bit.
Or that's when you just go stoveless.
Yeah.
You
Nah,
can
I
really
don't know
cut
about
down on
that.
water.
Now we're talking Lorenzo.
I mean, honestly, in those situations, it's like, okay, that's when you go stoveless. Like, you cut down on so much water use.
I really
a
want
lot.
a peak refuel though.
I'm just saying, it's a good way. It's a good way to extend. Like when you're, high country, you get in a lot of situations where there's no water, especially high country mule deer. Not
Yeah.
so much elk, obviously, because of wallows and all that stuff. But that's like it's kind of the hunt is defining your food style, anyways.
Yeah.
So you go stoveless on that, and you can save an extra 2 days of water on that 8 liters.
Yeah.
And it's actually easier to go stoveless than a lot of people think during
It's
the early
so much
season
easier.
hunts. Because like later season, sure, I get that people like the comfort
Warm
food.
meal, yeah.
Yeah.
And having but like what you're saying though too is like a good learning thing because like when we go bear hunting together, early season there's water everywhere. We
Everywhere,
can
yeah.
get by with 1 6-liter drum light and then an Nalgene and maybe like another soft bottle, so yeah, like 8 liters of water, and that's pretty much what we move around with. I don't carry 8 liters around every day, but that's all we have available to us.
Yeah.
And so like going into a drier state, even though it might be some water in the area, maybe carry 2 6-liter drum light bags. So if you do have a chance to get water, you could stash up. Or if you don't have any sort of reservoirs to put it in, you're SOL in a way.
At least like have it and like throw it in the truck too.
Yeah.
Is like one thing that I learned. It's like, shoot, I have all this extra gear at home. Doesn't do me any purpose.
Yeah, you'd rather have it, need it, than need it, not have it.
Yeah. Like you should have a go bag, like your hunting setup. Then you need a go tote as well. Like the tote's just all the auxiliary stuff that
I had a bunch
you just pull from when you need and stash it when you don't, but at least it's in your truck at the trailhead and not in your garage.
Yeah.
A bunch of hours away.
Yeah. So I should have done that. That's probably like another thing that I'll add to my list is just when I go hunting, especially on a solo hunt, like have a little tote, that Yeti Go box.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one to just.
Yeah. So is water like a pretty hard thing to come across where you're at?
Yeah. So it was all at the bottoms. And then like this area was just steep. It was like climbing freaking a building. Like
Can confirm.
it was steep.
Can confirm. Extremely steep.
Yeah. So yeah, the water's at the bottoms. Luckily, it was like fresh, clean water.
It's very good water.
But yeah, that's the thing that sucked is there was a, as I'll like telling the story, like there's one night where like if I had to get water, if I wanted to get water, I'd just do it at night and go drop down and hike up, so I'm not losing any hunting time. You know. So yeah, where am I at on the story?
The day you said day one.
Yeah. So yeah, I hiked in, found those bucks and found the bucks that I was like scouting that I found.
That had to be a good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, they were there. They two had like gone into like another drainage, then another 3 had stayed in the same drainage. Two of them were like target bucks. One was that 4x4 and then that 3x3.
Yeah.
Like that whitetail 3x3.
Both were studs.
Yeah, both
very
were
mature bucks.
Yeah. So I knew I had plays, and again I had service, and I was texting like Lorenzo like updates the whole hunt, and kind of just going back and forth with him. And I, especially like someone like you that's like so into hunting and like so like I could tell like you're like invested in like my success of the hunt too, and like going back and forth and like what should I do, like it kind of felt, even though you weren't there yet, like it felt like you were kind of there, or like I was like talking to someone, right, like talking to like a buddy that was like hunting, and
I can tell you when I was sitting here, my mind was definitely daydreaming of like, oh man, I wonder if he's on the stock right now. He sent me the video of that buck. He was better. I wonder like how close he is. Is he in bow range right now? He could be shooting a buck right now, and I'm sitting here in Vegas. Like, what the fuck? Like that was what was going through my head.
Yeah, that was fun. So yeah, day one. It's already the afternoon, so I had found those bucks, and since it was like so long to get in there, my plan was to wake up early the next day, find those bucks again, and then make a move. And I had found this 4x4 that I scouted in the summer, and it was actually funny because I was getting really excited about this 3x3, and then I had found that 4x4, sent the video to Lorenzo of the buck, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go for the 3x3. And it's like, dude, I'd go for that 4x4. That might be your plan A.
Well, I will say the 3-point was cool because he was so mature.
Yeah.
He was, dude, that was an old, just burly deer. Body, chest, like he was just one of them belly hangers that just like stands out body wise. And he had a great set of horns on him. Antlers, Brady, sorry. Had a great set of antlers on him. I catch myself with that all the time now.
It's kind of like to press the trigger.
Yeah, exactly. I catch myself on that all the time now too.
Yeah. It's eventually going to become second nature.
It's like if horns does slip out, I immediately hear Brady yell at me. So he had a really good set of antlers on him as a 3-point, heavy, wide, tall. But he sent me the video of this 4-point, and he had a goal that he really wanted to find a 170 buck and hunt it. Like that was, he just, he wanted to set a goal for himself, which I think is awesome. And when he sent me the video of that 4-point, I'm like, bro, that's your goal. Like, what are you talking about, this 3-point? That is the goal buck right there. Yeah. I mean, he was mature too. He wasn't, an 8-year-old belly hanger like the 3-point, but he was still a very mature buck.
What I thought was really funny throughout this whole process, because he's like, you're saying like, oh, you're messaging Lorenzo, like you're messaging a lot of people throughout the whole thing, which that was really cool because I was on a hunt with Porter.
Yeah.
You were also like messaging Bones.
Yep.
As well. And all of a sudden at one point, like he had sent me the video of the buck he was going after the 3-point. I was like, awesome. He found him. Like he's going to be there right in the morning. Like you're going to kill him. And like I thought that was plan A. Then I woke up in the morning and Bones like, did you see Omar's like buck? And I'm like, no, the 3-point he's going after. He's like, no, he had a new plan A buck. And he showed me the video and I was like, Ever? Yeah. Like I didn't get the video. He sent it to Bones. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, so Omar is probably messaging so many people at once, just burning his battery. But it's really good. But it's really good intel. He's trying to get like asking people like what to do.
Nate Bear. It was
like
Trail, Brady.
Trail, no, because he was on his hunt.
Oh no,
it wasn't Trail. It wasn't Trail yet.
It was Nate Bear, Brady, me, Bones.
A little bit of Porter.
Like you were checking in with a lot of people.
And then like my friends on Snapchat from like back home, that was like snapping like them daily updates. Because you get so bored back there. You're just like talking to yourself.
He's such a millennial. That's
just
like
giving away your hunting location.
No, I don't have any of the locations. They're good
I
friends.
love hunting because it's just the ultimate. It is the ultimate excuse for airplane mode. Yeah. And just no one can get a hold of you. Yeah. I love it. Like that's what I use it for. Like, oh, sorry, I was out for 10 days, even though I had service on every peak I got to. Like, nah, dude, I was out for 10 days, man. I'm sorry.
I saw your green on Instagram, though. What do you mean?
And that's what I kind of feel bad for something too, because I knew he had service, like because his carrier had service in that area. But I wanted updates constantly. But I'm the type of person too, like I'm on the hunt, I'm not giving anyone updates. I just want to be in my own time. But I'm like, I kind of wanted to bug Omar constantly, but also like kind of wanted to let him do his thing.
Constantly.
But then when I'm sitting there, and then I'm sitting there after like the morning, I'm like, so did he kill? Did he stalk? Like what's going on? Like I haven't heard anything, and I'm trying to glass bucks for Porter, so I'm trying to pay attention to Porter's thing.
I definitely bugged him. I would every 2 hours update question mark.
Because it's the funnest thing. Because then you kind of feel like you're with him. Like we all can't be gone all the time in every different direction. But like, it felt like you were there.
And I'm stuck here, like just you know, I don't do well when I know my guys are out hunting and I'm stuck in Vegas. I'm like just not a good headspace for me. Yeah. So I just kept texting him, update.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun. I was like, I think at one point I was like, I'm giving you like the live play by play.
It was
like,
great,
bro. Please don't stop. I fucking love it.
Yeah. So you found the new target buck.
Yeah, I found the new target buck, and then
you got in tight to him too.
I was literally 30 yards.
You were too tight.
Yeah, 30 yards away from him, but it was just like super thick where he bedded at. And
do you know? So I haven't asked you this yet. I was actually saving it for the podcast. Did you learn on that stock? Like you got too tight? Did you learn where you could have held up and potentially still killed him?
Yeah, so I learned that I was just moving way too fast. Like I was looking back and I took one picture of the area and like drew like a little line. I should have like digiscope, like zoom all the way in, zoom all the way out, like get a couple videos and like really like, all right, that is the tree where I need to stop at, take off my boots and put on my stocking shoes on. I was just moving, like I just got way too excited. I was like, all right, sweet, here we go. You know, took one picture, that's where he's at. And then I got over there and it's like, you know, the landscape obviously changes when you get over there. I knew it would, but I didn't think it was going to be as crazy as that. I mean, it was my first ever archery deer stock. Stock on. I mean, I killed a javelina. That don't really count.
Come on. That's like
that counts. That's a big game, man. You have to draw that tag. There's draw odds for it.
That's even separate than the bear conversation.
I will agree. They're nature's gift to bow hunters.
Exactly. Yeah. They're just fun. That's the arcade for bow hunters.
So were you basically asking them though, like I used to call it like the red zone.
Yeah.
Like you're getting in the danger portion of the stock, and almost like it's worse to get like you want to get close obviously to kill,
but
for a big old mule deer it's hard in that like red zone area because like any sort of movement or anything is a spook them out. So sometimes that being like 40 yards is like better comfort zone than getting into 20.
I was telling it's different than an elk. Like the elk, they obviously need to survive too, but they're just so big they're not on edge like mule deer are all the time. With mule deer, especially mature mule deer buck, that thing's only job in life is to survive. Like only job.
Yeah.
And they're not big enough to use their size against predators. So they're on edge. So when you're stalking a buck in his bed, like you can't press like you could a bull elk and try to, you know, make it happen in their bed and get ultra tight. So I like to pull up on a deer in a bed like 50, even 60 yards. Just because let them stand up and let them feed a little bit almost sometimes, just so they're a little more relaxed, and then try to cut that last 10 yards because you can move, you know, 2 steps, cut 2 yards, 2 steps, cut 2 yards, see what way they're feeding out. But when you get that tight on a mule deer in his bed, that is like ultra danger zone. You can't get away with anything.
And it's not like elk where like they'll kind of stand up and like they're not spooked, they just kind of get up like, oh, it's over there.
No,
like, you know,
those things stand up and are gone. Like they run the same time they stand up.
Yeah,
it's different.
So I got in super tight. Should have done a little bit more analysis of the terrain and where I really wanted to go. A lot more videos.
You think if you would have pulled up at 60 you would have killed him?
Yes, but I think he was like 40 yards off the top of the hill. of like where I
So
had.
it was tough.
Yeah, so it was tough. So I had to be in tight anyway. It was going to be a tight stock anyways.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go below him because the wind was pushing up. But that was fun. Like, you know, I really got my first. It sucked that it happened on a pretty big buck, like a pretty
legit
like,
target
yeah,
goal buck. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that was fun. Like, you know, I got the full experience, got close. He snorted, he took off. I think I called you.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, he like snorted. Like, he never got my wind. I think I'm going to just stay here, hold back in the area and see if, like, I don't know if he comes back or something. Like, the wind's perfect. See if I can, you know, maybe catch him slipping up in the timber.
Yeah.
And then I texted you back and was like, no, I'm just going to go back and see if I could relocate him, go glass down below and, you know, see. I don't think he's spooked too bad, so I want to get out of here, get my scent out. And I never saw that buck again. I saw his homie that he was rolling with, but I never saw that 4x4 again. So he was gone out of my life.
And how many days? 4 days.
2 days.
2 days?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what a smart buck does.
Did you have to experience what all bow hunters have experienced, is the old walk of shame?
Yes.
Because like that's the hard part about bow
For
hunting mule
sure.
deer is like if you're elk hunting, you know, most of the time you have camp on your back and like always continue on from here.
Right.
But most likely the best place to glass that area is way the opposite side of a canyon because obviously looped around. So then you have probably to go all the way back around and then get back over there to then try to glass that area again. It's like it's always difficult. I always thought about it every
Yeah.
time I made a stock. I'm like, shit, if I fail a stock right now,
I got to go all,
I gotta
all
all
the way back.
Like you don't want to have those thoughts ever creep in your mind, but you do just think about it for a short
Yeah,
second. Like
this could be so much wasted effort.
so much effort to go over here, but you got to do it. Like
have to.
You have to put the stock on.
You know what's even funny? The walk of shame without the boots.
Oh yeah, that's
I
always
gotta
the
get
first.
to my boots.
That's the legitimate, like college style walk
Yeah,
of shame.
exactly.
And I always wonder, like, is there any other hunters just watching me right now, like moping around trying to find my boots? Even though I can mark them, but sometimes it's always hard to find it. You're
Yeah.
like, you feel like you're just tiptoeing because it hurts your feet.
Yeah, that's a painful one, man. The walk of shame's a mule deer.
Yeah. So that happened.
And you didn't turn the buck up again.
I didn't turn the buck up again. I did see his best friend that he was rolling with a couple days later, so I knew that buck was somewhere.
He'll come back.
Yeah.
That's what a mature buck does.
Yeah.
Like a buck that's been around the block for a while, they'll bomb out for a couple days at least.
Yeah, I don't know where he went. I know he's probably back by now, chilling.
Yeah, by now for sure.
But yeah, and then so I got back to camp, did the walk of shame, did all that, experienced my first ever like deer blowing out and like the whole snort and everything. That was
You had
pretty
some
cool.
celebrations in that though. You got 30 yards to a bedded
Yeah.
buck. Like that's not easy.
And 30 yards with boots on,
That's not easy.
so I was ninjaing around.
That's
Oh,
not
you're really
easy.
ninjing there.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Because when I was 30 yards is when I took off my boots and I was like, oh, freaking buck was so close. So yeah, blew that one up.
What bumped him? You were making noise? What was it?
Yeah, I think it was just a noise because he was in this kind of patch of timber and it's super steep with rocks and
Yeah.
all, like there was no quakies, there was no wind, it was super calm, like there was nothing loud to really.
Yeah.
We're a mile up from the water, so like there was no loudness. It was just like the timber was so quiet. So I
Yeah.
think it was just he knew something was
Yep.
creeping up. Which I always wondered too, how deer know that their friends are like walking by them and then don't spook out. You know what I mean?
That
their
weird
own-
sense they got, man.
Yeah.
It's their
crazy.
only job in life is to survive.
I
So
know.
think about like if you walked into your house and something was out of place, you would notice it.
That's true.
You
Yeah.
would notice it.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like
Like
you
I
feel
can,
it.
I can tell which kid is coming in my room by the sound of their footsteps. Like I can
That-
tell if it's Romeo or Lorenzo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
So if you think about it, like that is their everyday life to survive.
Yeah. And then to have
And
just,
that's their home. So like they know when something's not right.
yeah.
And that's why Lorenzo was saying, I think you said it, like that buck will be back.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because like
It's his
that's
home.
the home a big buck knows about. He knows everything about that little area. So yeah, he might give like a couple days off and like
Yeah.
go where, no, who knows where he goes, but they usually come back.
Yeah.
100%.
I missed a buck one year, and then like 2 days later, he was right back
Back,
in there with all
yeah.
the 7 other bucks with him, and then I killed him.
like my guess on that buck on the video is he's six years old.
Yeah.
So
Really?
you think 6 years, that buck knows his escape routes. He knows how he gets back. He knows the water while he's off his home base. Like he just knows his setup.
Maybe
Yeah.
he feels more comfortable knowing that rather than going.
Yeah.
He could go to new areas. He probably knows that a little bit, but it's like he'd much rather go back to where he
knows his escape
everything.
route and he knows
Yeah.
his water and he knows where he's safe. Like
Yeah.
they'll go a new spot, but they don't stay for a ton of time.
Yeah, which I was asking, I was like, you think he'll be back and stuff? And you're
He
like,
said a
yeah,
couple days.
Yeah, a couple days. And I asked Kenneth over at Kafart, freaking service, man.
Yeah.
It's like nice, but also like not so nice.
Yeah.
Because you just like,
It's good for you in the moment with your
Yeah.
like first legit
Yeah. And
Mule
yeah,
hunt.
I asked Kenneth because, you know, he lives in Wyoming and gets to hunt
Yeah.
some pretty cool tags all the time with this general tag. And he was like, I was like, you know, you think they'll be back? He's like, yeah, it's their home. Like, they know it best.
Yeah.
You know, he'll be back eventually.
Could be 2 days, could be 5 days, but he's coming back.
Yeah. So, yeah, went back. But then, you know, my goal was just to kill like a mature mule deer. Like, I wasn't looking for, you know, over 170 or something like that was kind of like the goal. Just a mature buck, something respectable buck with this little top hat.
Yeah, respectable,
Respectable buck.
yes, the old respectable bear conversation
yes.
got brought back in.
And yeah, I went back and I knew that 3x3 was in that other basin and he was feeding in the morning. I quickly like saw him like, all right, yeah, he's there. He didn't go anywhere. Then it dropped down in water last night or something. So I knew he was over there. So I put my glass on there and instantly, like in 2 minutes, picked him up. And he was with 2 other bucks in this like low part of the basin, but like very steep and rocky to where I had to go. So I looked at my topo on my GOHUNT app, like quickly made a plan, knew that I had to get to this side of the peak, hike all the way around, go above camp, and then start dropping in on them, like pretty much directly above them, but not too much directly because it was so steep and rocky that I didn't want that, you know, shale to fall down and make a lot of noise. So I kind of went at this angle and worked my way down. And I finally got to a tree that I was 100 yards away from. And I put on my stocking shoes and I had to make this one cut through this like little avalanche chute. But those 2 bucks were like looking right at me. And I was like, dude, I have to just like try it. So I'm like ninjaing it around. And then I get to like the other side and then I look over and those bucks are gone. And I think the 3x3 is gone with them too. But then I look back down and the 3x3 is there. So I put in a stock, get super close, get to 60 yards. So I'm dialed to 60. I'm ready to go. I feel comfortable at that distance. And all of a sudden the wind switched and that buck is just gone, just snorted and then took off.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was 2 stocks on the second day of the hunt, which, you know, was fun. It was successful.
On
but
2 of your hitless bucks.
yeah, 2 of my hitless bucks. But now the problem was
You blew the whole basin out.
I blew the whole basin out.
Yeah.
So now I was kind of to a point where those bucks are going to be gone for a couple days. I got to kind of move spots and find different animals.
Let that spot rest. Go try to find something else.
Yep.
And then go in there 3 days later if you had to.
Exactly. So yeah, I started glassing around. Saw the 4x4's buddy that came back. Never saw those 3 bucks in that one basin ever come back. Went to the back side of the hill. Saw bucks on the other side. Came back to camp. Started glassing. Saw another 4x4 that I chased. Put in a stock on him. You know, got to 100 yards to where they were. I got to like maybe 200 yards to where I thought they were. This was now I'm kind of jumping around, but
This was a bonus buck though. This one just happened.
Yeah, this one just happened. Kind of saw this like bachelor group of bucks, made a play on them. Thought they had bedded in the aspens, but they actually hadn't. I think when I was stalking over there, I had made their way above me. So I get over there, I'm like looking down, I'm like trying to glass for them. All of a sudden, I hear like a snort, and then bucks like running away.
Yeah.
And this is kind of to like the point where in the hunt where I'm already 4 days in, and I'm hiking back, and this is where I get on the phone, where the phone can be a little dangerous depending who you call.
Yeah.
And I get on the phone, and I'm like, I call Brady first. I'm like, dude, I don't know what I'm like. I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. Like, you know, I'm like got on 3 stocks now. It takes me half the day to get back to camp. Feel like I'm, you know, like kind of losing time, like just fighting an uphill battle here that I'm never gonna win. And he was like, yeah. And then I was like talking to you about like moving spots and like into something like more stockable. And he's like, yeah, like if you feel like you're spinning your wheels in that area, like yeah, you should maybe move spots to like a spot that's more stockable. I was like, I have the perfect spot that's just behind this hill that's looks more stockable. It's not as loud. And I think like that's where I could have some success. So kind of landed on that. Made some other phone calls to Porter, which he suggested. He's like, hey, buddy, you've been grinding over there 4 days in the backcountry. Maybe you should just truck hunting for a couple of days. I got these spots that you should go to.
Don't do that.
And then I was like, oh, thanks for suggesting, Porter. But I definitely want to hunt.
Don't do that.
I was sitting next to Porter when I heard all this stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, Omar's probably just like information overload kind of right now. It was like logistics guy, Porter, just like throwing out so many different things. I'm like, I'm confused listening to you right now, Porter. Like, you gotta slow down.
He gave some really good suggestions, but I knew like I wanted to just backpack hunt.
Yeah.
So I had already made my mind up to like what I was gonna do. I was just wanted to hear Porter out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I, came back to camp, got everything ready. I knew I was gonna burn that afternoon, but I was gonna get to my truck and kind of drive a mile up the road and get to a spot where I could hike in.
One canyon to the south, right?
Yeah.
So
It was like the same hillside.
you're pulling out of drainage, spinning the truck into the next south drainage, and then hiking up that.
Yeah, hiked in there. It was probably like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And as I was hiking in, I met the sheep herder in the area. And this is where Spanish.
This is where Omarcito
Yeah.
comes into real handy.
Yeah, this is where the Espanol comes in handy.
Yeah.
And
Grande Venados.
yeah, I was asking. So I was like, oh, perfect. I had been in this situation before in Colorado, whether it be with the sheep herder or like
They
cattle.
know everything. Those sheep herders know so much information.
Yeah. So they spend. I mean, they live there. Yeah. So I was like, oh, perfect. If I see this guy, like, I'm gonna have some really good intel.
Yeah.
And it's gonna cost $0. Yeah. So I'm hiking in, and it's like 300 sheep are coming my way. I'm like, perfect. I'm gonna meet this guy. So I finally get to the sheep herder, and I'm talking to him.
What'd you say to him?
I just like started greeting him, and
What'd you say?
Hola.
Nice.
Yeah. How's he doing? And I quickly like started like, oh, like, what do you do here? Like, I knew what he did, but I wanted to. I know those guys don't talk to a lot of people, so I know they want to like speak to you.
Yeah.
Especially if it's someone who knows their like native language.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to him, hear how his day went and all that stuff, and then I started asking him the important questions like, "Yo, the deer back here?" And he's like, "Yeah, muy grande venados and muy grande elk." And I was like, "Perfect."
Hell yes.
And then I was like, "Where at?" And he was like, "The very top." And I was like, "All right, sweet." So like my research that I had done in like a couple days before, where I had found that different area and I saw bucks there, it's kind of proven out to be there's multiple deer that kind of live in that area.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, sweet. Like, I know where I'm going to go. I know what trail I'm going to take and kind of the access route that I want. And I'm just going to set up and start glassing that peak that he's kind of pointing to and where I had seen it a little bit. And then that's where I get there. Actually, that day that I was hiking in, I was like going through a bunch of like thick stuff. And I was like almost to a point where I wanted like to freak out and kind of throw in the towel.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, like, what am I doing? Like, I'm moving to a new area.
Starting from scratch. Feels like you're starting from scratch.
Exactly. Yeah. What am I doing? It's getting late. It's cold. Like, I'm all sweaty. I'm all dirty. Like, I could be at home in a comfortable bed with the AC. And, I was kind of getting to that point. And then I kind of was like,
this is 4.5 days solo right now, right?
4.5 days solo. So this is like a point of the hunt where I was like, all right, sweet. Like, dude, just relax. Like, if you got to camp where you're at right now, you're going to get to where you need to go eventually. Mm-hmm. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, camp. I'm right next to water. Have a good meal, get a good night's rest, and just like cool everything down. Wake up tomorrow early at 4 o'clock, and then get to the spot where those bucks just get to where I need to go by the time those bucks are still moving around. Like, I'm not going to miss anything too crazy. I don't need to burn myself right now needing to get to that spot and on the glass advantage at 4:30 in the morning.
That's a hard thing to do too in the backcountry. Is just like, it's like when we talk about packing shit out in the willows or anything like that. Yeah. Sometimes the best thing to do is just sit down, take the pack off, rest, overnight it. Just let it just cool everything off. Yeah. Just let it all get back to zero. Yeah,
because that's what I was kind of getting into, like that spot where, should I throw in the towel here? And that's all she wrote. But then I was like, hold on, Omar. Like, you're like living your dream right now. Like, you're doing what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
3 years ago, 4 years ago.
And
like,
you're not going to quit again.
Yeah, and you're not going to. That idea was should just get burned out of your mind. And I was like, it was just a low part of the hunt, but overcame that. Camped there. Woke up the next morning, got to my spot at like 7 in the morning where I wanted to glass at. Instantly started seeing deer, started seeing does. Some pretty respectable bucks, and then saw a really respectable buck. Yeah. Which
I didn't make that shirt, by the way.
We do.
Respectable bear, and then we got a respectable buck.
Bucks, yeah.
The top hats.
Actually, I had seen the respectable bucks, and I was like, all right, sweet. Like, there's bucks here. Like, I have moves that I can make. And I had just like in the back of my mind, I was just grinding for 4 days. And I was kind of using like a legitimate excuse, like, all right, like, this is like your day to just scout the air, like overlook everything, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of, I was like telling myself in my head, because I didn't want to like hike up a mile and a half to blow something out and then kind of get into like that deep depression again.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, sweet. Like, just relax today. Look at the area. Look at all the bucks that you could have in inventory, so that you can make your move tomorrow. Like the next day, I knew that I was gonna go on a stalk. So I had done that. I had seen bucks early. Had seen bucks feeding out in the afternoon, and then around 3:30 in the afternoon, I saw a pretty cool buck, which I had texted you. But this buck, like,
he was awesome.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him before. I didn't see him in the morning. I didn't see him in the midday. I just saw him in the afternoon feeding. At like 3:30, he bedded. I had like a little bit of digiscope that I sent over to you, and then he got up again and fed for the evening. And that's kind of, I think that was day 5, so Wednesday. And that's where I had like called you, and then you kind of had started formulating a plan of like coming out and helping me.
Well, so this is where our paths now come together so I've been stuck here in Vegas for multiple reasons. My kid was starting school. I couldn't get out. So it was, the weekend was getting school ready. Then it was meeting the teacher on Monday. And then it was first day of school on Wednesday. So I just couldn't get out of town. You and Brady and Porter are out of the office hunting. Bones and Jordan are with them. You're out hunting. Trail's out hunting. And I'm just, like pulling my hair out in the office in a total depression mode of like, how everyone's out of the office and I'm not, like, this is bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then Porter and you are coming home. Trail's in the middle of nowhere, not talking to anyone. So I know I'm not going to get a hold of him to go on his hunt. And so Omar texts me this buck, and I'm like, dude, I can be there. Like, I can come help. Cause now Wednesday, first day of school is out of the way. The weekend's coming up. I'm like, dude, I can be there. So let me figure out some stuff. Of course, it's the one Friday I can't miss for work in I don't even know how long, honestly. Like, if I look back on the last 15 Fridays, I probably could have taken them off if I really wanted to. Mm-hmm. Cannot take this Friday off. I have 2 meetings, absolutely can't miss. Yeah. It's like it's a non-starter. So in my head, I'm like, God, do I bomb up tonight, Wednesday night, pull an all-nighter, hike into the glassing knob? Because I was talking to Omar about time, and I could have made it before sunrise. But if I did that, then I would only be able to hunt Friday and have to come home, be able to hunt Thursday, have to come home for Friday, and then what's the likelihood I'm just going to turn around and go right back with my wife and kids and all that? So I took a time out. Yeah. Like we said, sometimes the best thing on a backcountry run is just sit down and camp where you're at. Well, I sat down and thought it through. I'm like, that is so dumb. What I could do is be there for Friday afternoon after these 2 meetings, just bomb out 100 miles an hour the whole way, make it for the last 2 hours of Friday night hunt, have Omar on the hunt side and I'll be on the glass side. So we're not burning any time there. Okay, so it's going to work. We can do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. I'll be home Sunday night before, Turtle has to go back to school on Monday. All right, that's what I'm going to do. So I call Omar and kind of get the lay of the land. He's sending me pictures and videos. And I'm like, dude, this is the perfect setup. You have cell phone service. This is the perfect setup for us to be glassed on the other side. Mm-hmm. Except I have Verizon, so I have no service. You want to know who has AT&T and has service? Bones and Jordan. So I text Bones and Jordan. I said, hey, bro, you guys want to go hunt again this weekend? And they're like, hell yeah, I can't wait. Let's go. They're just the 2 best groms on planet Earth.
Yeah, I love how they're always game to do anything.
Game.
They love hunting so much, which is awesome.
They're awesome.
So I went into planning mode. I'm like, all right, Omar, you watch that buck. That's for sure a no question shooter. Like, I don't care what tag you have. It's a no question shooter. There's other bucks in the basin. I said, I got Bones and Jordan and myself. We're going to leave. We'll be there, this time on Friday afternoon. Then I'm texting Bones and Jordan. I want you guys at my house at 11 o'clock. I want you guys with boots on, clothes ready, like no wasted time at the trailhead. Mm. They literally came so ready that their water bladders were full in the
way.
truck. Yeah. That's so awesome. I'm like, what? All right, that's a little, usually you stop at a gas station, like fill it up with some cold water. You know what I mean? I'm like, I appreciate the seriousness of you guys being ready to roll at the trailhead. And Omar's keeping us up to date at this buck. He's bedded, he's with 7 other bucks, the whole deal. So the whole time in the car ride with me, Bones and Jordan, we're like going through, okay, we're going to split up. I want you guys on this side of me. I'll be in the middle. And as long as we can get this buck rounded up and just see his butt in the trees when he's bedded, just something, we can get Omar on this deer. And so anyways, we pull up. Omar decides he's going to come out to the truck, because the glass spot is on the opposite ridge, right? I mean, it's the prototype backcountry mule deer hunt. So he's from the opposite ridge looking into this basin that these bucks are using. So he's like, we'll meet at the truck, 3:30, whatever.
So you get food.
Yeah, and you need to charge your phone up.
Charge my
and
phone. Shoot
battery
my bow. I wanted to
breaks.
shoot my
I
bow.
can imagine he needs to charge his phone. He's
Yeah.
only been beating the crap out of it the whole
The
week.
whole
like,
time.
Yeah,
The whole time.
logistically planning things.
And he's like,
Snapchat.
and I want
Snapchat.
to go shoot my bow because
Oh,
I
that's
haven't
good.
shot it in 7 days. I said, dude, that is absolutely what you should go do.
Yeah,
like, go
yeah.
get some reps in, be confident, because now we have 2.5 days. You took off these 8 days up for this hunt. You're done after this, so like, just be ready. These 2.5 days are just straight kill mode. You're on the side with the deer. You're done glassing. Like, drop the tripod.
Yeah.
Drop the spotter. You're done.
Yeah.
So he went down and got, gamed up for being in kill mode. Pull up to the truck, and Omar's goes, "Damn, you're like an airplane on wheels, man!" Because we made
Jet
it
on
there,
wheels.
a jet on wheels, man. Because we made it there so fast, and we went straight into
Business.
Like, I mean, we were at the trailhead for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I think I put my boots on, and that was about it.
Yeah. Yep.
And we started hoofing it up the trail. By the way, Omar's the hike to the glassing knob is like not bad at all. Don't worry about it.
Classic.
Right? Not bad at all.
I do that all the time.
So,
Got to reassure them it's easy.
Yeah.
which I don't really care if it was hard. I just wanted to know. So I'm thinking, oh, perfect. I'll just use this as training for New Mexico. Like, this is great. I'm wearing leather boots for the first time in forever. I've been wearing them, rucking for the last 2-3 weeks. They feel good, but like, hey, this is a perfect time to put everything to the test.
Yep.
The new trekking poles I want to use, this new thing, that new thing. I hit the trailhead and my pack's like, I don't know, 60 pounds maybe, because I
Not
went
light.
intentionally heavy. Like, I threw in all kinds of shit I would never take on a backcountry hunt.
Crap ton of food.
Ton of food. I brought in a camp chair, brought in a gun with extra rounds, big old suppressor on it, handgun just for fun. I'm like, just bringing in all this stuff to create weight in my backpack so I can, use it as training.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. Well, the hike was not easy. No. Like, it was actually a very legitimate hike, which it's all good because it ended up being good training. But I'm thinking it's going to be, an hour just meandering little.
Yeah.
Dude, it is side hilling and shale and beating through cat claw and willows and all kinds
Going
of shit because
underneath.
you're in a river bottom the whole time or
Yeah.
a creek bottom the whole time.
Ugh.
I'm like, you motherfucker. Like, you couldn't just tell me I wouldn't have made my pack so good. Like, I'm getting
I would have
caught
ditched all
on
these stupid things. Yeah.
I'm getting caught on everything. My pack is like legitimate backcountry big. And so I was a little mad at him for that.
I like got down. I was, oh, hey boys, took me like 45.
It's only like 45.
not bad.
Don't worry about it, dude. It was a legitimate backcountry hike. And anyways, we get to the Glass and Knob. We got there an hour before you made it to camp
Yeah,
because you had 3,000 feet of just straight vertical.
So
with water.
did Omar go with the glassing knob, or
No.
did he eventually split? He told you where to go.
From
then
the truck. This is offline sharing. At the truck, offline shares his camp spot, glass spot, everything. So
Gotcha.
now I have the data of where he was seeing the buck from.
Yeah.
So at the truck, he just went straight north, just absolute vertical from
That's
0 to
good.
3,000. Like,
Guess I'm trying to visualize in my head is like, all right, so you try to figure out where the glassing knob is, but then you also have to figure out where the deer is too. So
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that stuff's
And
now
he-
offline shareable.
and he did a good job taking pictures of where he bedded.
Yeah.
The high country's so noticeable with all the landmarks.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the picture of where he left the bucks when they were bedded. So we're hiking up to the glass. He's hiking up to the top. He's got 2,000 more vertical than we have.
Which
at
is a very
least.
smart setup, by the way,
Yeah,
which we
so
can get
now
into in a little bit.
he's on kill side. He's
Yep.
on the deer side. We're on the glass side. So we pull up the glass. Immediately, very first thing we see is a very nice 4-point, like very nice 4-point. And no, the buck, we called him the sticker buck because he had a cheater and an inline. And that cheater on the right side was like 3 inches. It was like a very noticeable sticker.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, no sticker buck. Me, Bones, and Jordan are talking. And the whole time I'm like, man, I wonder if he's ever seen this 4-point. Like, I don't know why he wouldn't, but he's never told me anything about a 4-point.
I only see him that day. The day that Friday. That's the only day I saw him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like a very nice buck. So he goes up to the top, finally gets service, calls Bones. And, we're relaying, we haven't seen the sticker buck. We haven't seen this. We haven't seen. Have you seen this 4-point though? He's like, yeah, I saw him yesterday. I just didn't say anything. I'm like, do you want to hunt him right now? Because he's a very nice buck and he is super killable right now. Like, I mean, by himself, feeding, calm as can be, and he's in a aspen patch. Could not be more killable. And to Omar's credit, you were like, no, I want to give the sticker buck. That's the one I want. I want to give that one a go. I'm like, yeah, cool. I respect that.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just keep tabs on him on this 4-point thing and see what happens. So you were at the top.
Yeah, I was at the top. It was probably like,
did all that make sense, by the way?
Yeah,
Like
I was
now-
visualizing it all, and like you're on one side, they're on the other.
Yeah.
You already spotted the buck.
So think about an east-west, big, gnarly
Yep.
east-west running basin. We're on the south ridge. He's on the north ridge with the deer.
Yep.
Like he's with them.
Because this is why it's made sense you guys came in, because otherwise you have to go back and forth constantly. So
Correct.
now he's only have to stay on the kill side,
Yep.
Yep.
and you guys can stay on the other side.
He's doing no
to help
glassing.
communicate him to get him in the position.
Correct.
Yeah,
He's doing 0 glassing. We're doing all the glassing, waiting for bucks to bed. Call him.
Yep.
Hey, this is where you need to be. This
Yeah.
is where that buck is. This is where this buck
no
is.
more
All the
giant death walk of
Correct.
shame.
Yeah.
Correct.
So back up a little bit so like Wednesday night, Thursday the whole day, and then Friday morning / mid-evening I watched that buck. And then when I got with those guys, we did that whole plan, then we separated, and then I went up with, at this time I had realized like I had made a mistake with not bringing enough
You
water.
had me bring you another 6-liter drum light bag. Yeah.
So I'd filled 2 bags up. I had filled up. It was a 6-liter, a 4-liter, a 2-liter, and then my Nalgene.
Yeah.
So I was going up with enough water for
12 liters total.
Yeah, 12 liters total. So I had enough water for the next 4 days 4 or 5 days if I really wanted to. But it's so hot in those conditions, and I knew
By the way, when he was telling us there was a nice little meandering hike, it was 95 degrees the
Nice.
entire way.
Nice.
And like humid.
In the sun probably
And
too.
humid. Oh, just dead
Yeah.
blaring heat of the sun, and humid as hell down in that creek bottom.
Typical person who knows the trail is always trying to,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's really easy. It's
Let
going
me
to
tell
be
you
cool
what.
out.
You think I can sweat a hat out in a gym for an hour?
Oh, I bet
you
it
should
was
have seen my clothes and hat by the time we got to
soaked, sweaty
camp.
hat.
It
Yeah.
was disgusting.
And-
I wanted to say something though, too
Yeah.
quick. So you are also doing something very wise, with only comes with experience too. Is you're being patient. Those days,
Extremely.
Those days when you found the bucks before Lorenzo got there, like you probably could have stalked them. You said that one day you were using it as a quote unquote rest day because
Yeah.
you're trying to like mentally do it, but you're also emphasizing patience. You're not
Yeah.
trying to push the envelope and stalk probably when you shouldn't stalk. And so you're really gathering data those multiple days. Yeah, sure, you knew those guys were coming in, so it was maybe a little bit easier to not push the envelope and stalk.
Yep.
But you're trying to set up something that's going to be a high likelihood of success rather than rushing it, blowing a deer out,
Yeah.
never finding a deer again. So patience kills deer.
That's a really good point. He did a very good job of taking that day and a half of waterlogging himself, getting right in the head,
Yeah.
resting
I
your
was
legs.
texting you. I was like, yeah, I'm drinking like
Yeah.
a gallon of water right now. Like I'm getting hydrated.
Because he had already been in beating himself up for the last days.
He's getting in kill mode.
Yeah, and he knew, the best situation for a kill was coming. And so he didn't get overzealous and go try to make it happen.
Yeah.
And you ended up gathering the exact data we needed. Like we knew exactly the plan
Yep.
come the morning. Like he knew what these bucks did. He knew their little route. So it was perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah. So Friday evening we get up. Those guys get set up to glass. I get up atop, and they're kind of glassing. They found that 4x4,
Yeah.
4x4.
One thing too, you told me, oh, you guys might see 2 really nice bulls as well.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. Like really nice bulls. Thinking like Omar's only seen how many bulls. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Omar Cito. Well, then that night, one bull feeds out, and it's a nice bull. It's a 340 bull, And I'm like, yeah, you saw that nice bull we were talking about. He goes, no, that's not him. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like it's got to be the same bull. Next morning, dude, this bull is gigantic.
Yeah.
Like absolutely gigantic. We got sidetracked the next morning.
Yeah. I was like, what do you mean you're watching the bulls, dude? Like
his
with a
luck.
deer hat.
He was so cool to watch. God, he was big.
I remember. I think you're like, hold on, because I was calling you.
Yeah.
Through Bones' phone, and then you're like, hold on, let me get phone scope with this. We got to go. I'm like, motherfucker, like,
Yeah,
what are they
'cause you
doing?
No, you go, what did I do? Bring the C team?
Is that the bull you showed me video of? When you
Yeah.
got back?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a good bull.
Omar, straight. I go, hey, let me call you back. I'm going to get a digiscope of this. He goes, bro, did you bring the C team up here? What are you talking about?
Looking at bulls, or supposed to be looking at bucks.
Yeah, wasting time looking at things you can't kill.
Yeah.
Dude,
No,
he
but it was cool.
He was awesome though.
Yeah, so I hike up there and they see the 4x4 and then we have a kind of conversation of like, no, like let's make at least like an attempt at the sticker buck.
Yeah.
That's what we came here for. That's what, kind
Which
of the goal was.
Easily could respect. Like if that's a buck you want, cool. We'll just keep tabs on this other one.
Yeah. So camped on the side of a hill pretty much. I should have camped closer, but after hiking all those...
You had so much water though.
Yeah, so
It
much
does make
water.
sense.
I was like, as soon as I get to like a camp spot where I'm like pretty close to the top, I'm stopping here. Because then I also like didn't want to like worry about my scent or like doing some loud thing at camp that will spook those bucks potentially, or spook a group of bucks that was there that I didn't know that blow out. I don't know, just... So I played it kind of safe and conservative on that side of where I wanted to camp, and slept on the side of the hill, which was like the worst night of sleep that I got, because I had like kicked out this old deer bed, and then I have the Stone Glacier Sky Air ULT. So it's like it's small, but it's like kind of big. It's not like a tarp. I should have just brought a GOHUNT tarp.
Yeah.
So I could just sleep wherever. But I wanted the nest to be away from bugs.
Were you sleeping in it properly this time?
I was. I haven't slept in it.
I can't confirm that. I didn't see it. I will confirm on this elk hunt, but I don't know.
I
about
wanted
this
to
one.
throw something out here. Okay, what is this? We're in this country where you're innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
That's what we always say.
Yeah.
I did swear I saw an Instagram story that Omar posted. I'll have to confirm his video. It did look like his outer rainfly was backwards, upside down.
Really?
The Stone Glacier logo I could tell was not the correct way. when your tent
Omar?
was put
I don't.
together.
I think it was.
Neville has also done this before too on the Skyer ULT. It's easy to throw it backwards.
Yeah.
because
it
there's-
is easy.
And so I swear it was like inside out. The tarp needed to be flipped up. So it was. You probably slept in it correctly, but I think the tarp was just not on there.
Maybe. Me and that
Maybe. I don't want to say he's guilty right now.
You still
and
are Omar Sita. You can't get all the way away from
He's
it.
getting better with the Skyer. Let's just put
And
it
I
that
have
way.
one for sure Omar Sito, and I can't wait to say it.
Okay, so yeah, bad night of sleep.
Yeah,
But-
bad night of sleep. It was windy.
It was windy.
So
that night.
windy,
It was
yeah.
crazy windy that night.
I had made a peak refuel, and like this is one of those ones where I think I like punctured somehow from like last season. So it was like nasty, and like when I put water in there, like the chicken never like fully cooked. It was something went wrong with that one.
Yeah.
I still love my peak refills, but yeah. So had a shitty night of sleep, had a shitty dinner, didn't even eat dinner. I actually ate part of the food that Lorenzo gave me for Sunday, which was like pound of jerky. It felt like, and a pound of
Dude,
cashews.
I just threw in food. I had 6 hours notice.
Yeah.
So I just threw in food for you.
was
You're like,
really
hey,
good.
can you pack me an extra day? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm not going to measure anything, but yeah.
Banana, which I pulled a banana out of those. Like, there's a banana here, like
There's a banana.
yeah.
If I'm going 2.5 days, I'm bringing apples.
We're
and
not
bananas.
talking about like a was it freeze dried
No,
banana?
dude,
We're talking about
like, I'm
full
talking
straight
full-on.
organic banana.
I'm talking organic golden banana.
it was
Phenomenal.
delicious.
Isn't there something about banana on hunts? Like banana
Well,
on a boat, don't bring one.
Is there?
I don't know.
I'm gonna work out on
I
this,
think
huh?
bananas get really brown when you take them into hot environments. Like
Well,
instantly they get
It
like
was
black.
2.5 days. And he did tell me camp spot because it's right next to the creek and it's got 3,000 foot ridges on both sides of it. Like it is deep as deep gets.
Yeah.
He goes, it's pretty cold in here. I'm like, cool, because I hate sleeping when it's hot. Like I can't stand. Dude, it was beyond cold. It was so.
really?
I brought a quilt because it's summertime in
Yeah.
Nevada. It's August.
Yeah.
You wildly undersold
Remember, I
how
was like,
cold
bring
it
a
was,
puppy.
how cold it was, and how hard the hike was. So I'm like, okay, I should have brought a 15 degree. Like it was fucking freezing down in this creek valley.
Interesting.
So I left the bananas and apples right there at camp. Brought in protein
Yeah.
shakes.
Which we'll get to.
Yeah.
It would be kind of nice to sit there on a hunt having a banana. I guess
It was-
sounds-
dude, it was
sounds really
amazing.
good. I
Dude,
love
Dude, to have
bananas.
fresh produce like that, like on a
Just
hunt,
get some
it's awesome.
Justin's like almond butter or like
That's
peanut
what I
butter
had.
on there.
Yeah.
Like oh,
And
so
honey. I
good.
brought in a full thing of honey. Brought in a full thing of peanut butter. I was trying to
He
be.
did have a heavy pack.
I was
dude,
trying to be
that's
intentionally.
insane.
I brought in protein shakes because he told me you're right on
My
the
guy.
creek. I said
Yeah.
perfect. So I'll just put them in the creek. nature's refrigerator.
And you can wash
put them
them.
under a rock in a creek, and so that's what I did. So I had ice cold protein shakes. I had apples and bananas. It was awesome.
Meanwhile,
Great.
Bones and Jordan over here like saving ounces probably.
They didn't know what to expect, but yeah, man, it was great.
Yeah. So we get there and then wake up Saturday morning, and that day like I knew it was gonna be a grind fest because you guys were gonna find the bucks. I knew you guys would see bucks and knew it was going to be a lot of up and down and just, communicating with you guys. And it was going to be a long day of just a lot of physical activity. So I try to kind of load up as much calories as I could in my day bag to, take up. I brought 4 liters of water, 5 liters, including my Nalgene filled, and then a 4-liter bladder because I knew it was going to be
a day.
And then, Sunday, that would leave me with 6 liters, which, I'd be fine with too. So that's what we did. Woke up early and got to my spot where I wanted to be, like, set up, kind of
Your starter spot.
my starter spot, kind of helping you glass and helping you guys glass from over there, just because I was bored.
Yeah.
Sitting there, I wasn't gonna just sit there and like lay down. It's like in my quilt till it's
Just
done.
like, I'm just gonna wait here until they tell me the bucks are up.
Stay warm and then go.
No, we had you were like, hey, we want, you should be on the ridge by the small scree field at first light.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of the plan. We'll be glassing. You'll be at the small scree field because they never went past that. This is the data that he gathered where he had it all dialed in. It's like, okay, we know that group of 7 bucks doesn't go more east than that scree field.
It's good intel you gathered.
It's great. So I said, okay, cool. Then that's your starting point. Like you be there at first light. We'll be glassing everything west of that at first light.
Yep. So yeah, I think it was like maybe an hour and a half into glassing, and the sticker buck hadn't showed up.
An hour.
Yeah.
It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
And we were watching the big bull.
Yeah.
And you were pissed. Like, dude, there's no bucks yet. They'll be here. Like, I'm sure they're somewhere, but I'm just going to watch this big bull for a second.
Yeah, and then I finally get the phone call. It's like,
Got him.
And I was like, all right, sweet. And I had, they actually picked it. Yeah, they picked it up pretty fast because I was in a different spot where I could kind of get a glassing advantage. And so I had to like quickly pack everything up and then essentially run to where that buck is feeding towards that scree field that Lorenzo was describing.
Let me just throw in one thing here. So how long did you watch him for? 2 days?
Yeah, 2 days.
Right? That's what you watched him for
Yeah.
because I couldn't be up there until Friday. Yeah, so
Yeah.
2 days. He noticed the first day you had seen him, they had wrapped like all the way west to where they're like rolling the basin now headed south on this ridge line, like way away from this timber that they usually bed in. And he had that from the first day that he watched him, but then they didn't do it the next day or the next half of day before we got there. They didn't do that.
So they're going horizontal traveling rather than vertically.
Correct.
Yep.
They're 200 yards off the top, and they're just rolling this basin straight west all the way to the head of the basin and now to the point where they're coming south. And he had seen him do that.
Sometimes the bucks like that are hard to hunt because they're crossing so much terrain and
Correct.
topography that's hard to keep eyes on them.
Correct.
So it's really good. You could still track them.
But he knew the timber patch that they bedded in. It was just west of that scree field, that small scree field. And at the head of the basin was a huge, massive scree field. And I remember telling you, I'm like, dude, if they do that when we're hunting him, like that's dead.
Yeah.
Like, that's so dead. If you know where they bed and they're that far off, that gives us so much time to put you where you need to be. Well, guess what? Saturday morning, they're coming back from that head of the basin, like the southwest head of the basin, and they got to work the entire basin all the way to where now it runs just straight east-west and then work all the way back to the east into this timber patch. And so we called you and I'm like, dude, you need to run because they're moving pretty quick. Like you need to run to that tree line that they like to go through, that you saw him go through. Because he had pictures and did a really good job of sending pictures so we knew exactly what to look for. I'm like, he is headed exactly the path you watched him do.
There we go.
And I'm like...
And he's leading.
And he's the lead buck.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's like 100 yards in the lead.
Oh, that's
like
so perfect.
Like he's moving quick.
Yeah.
And the other bucks are still kind of dicking around. And we didn't pay attention to any of the other bucks in the group because, that was a sticker buck. That was the only thing that we cared. So he got to that timber patch. He called us and I said, you need to drop. There's 2 juniper trees touching each other in the middle of a rounded off aspen patch. I said, I'm looking through my binos. I said, start pointing down. And as soon as he was pointing in the direction, I said, yep, right there, that line. You need to find the 2 junipers that are touching in that aspen patch. So hang up the phone. He dives off, gets right to the 2 juniper patches, or the 2 juniper trees that are touching in the aspen patch. And me, Bones, and Jordan.
Which, by the way, real quick, you like, let me get a little wind check and thermal check.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, yep, everything's perfect going uphill to my right shoulder.
It was coming off your right shoulder.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm looking through, because he can't see the buck. I'm looking at where him and the buck are going to come at a crash course. So it's more important for me to see the wind than him, because he doesn't know what the buck's doing. I'm seeing both of them at the same time. So I said, give me a couple puffs of wind just so I can see, if you need to be more east or west of where you are.
Yep.
So he gave me a wind check, and I'm like, dude, off your right shoulder, going uphill. I said, those 2 juniper trees, perfect. Hung up the phone, and he drops off. And so now me, Bones, and Jordan are just sitting there, snacking and jacking.
Waiting it out.
Heart just pounding, because this buck and Omar are on a legitimate train wreck for each other. Like, I mean, it could have been a 5-yard frontal shot with how it lined up. Like, he knew the path.
Happen.
I saw that they were on the same vertical, put them in the right tree with where the wind was going. And
Giving you ranges too. You're like,
not on that one.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
that
yeah.
one didn't work because he was off the side.
Yep.
But I asked you, I said, give me ranges on, that aspen patch.
Yep.
And the furthest thing was 60.
Yeah.
I said, perfect. So if he goes above you, he's going to be at 60. And if he hits that below tree line, he's going to be 65. So
Yeah.
it's all good. But what he didn't know is they were on a crash course for a 5-yard frontal. He wasn't going up or below Omar. Like, it was just dead.
And this is sticker buck, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the 100 yards in the lead. The reason why he couldn't see him is obviously this east-west ridge has some rolls in topography, and he's kind of in a dip. And Omar is to the east of the buck, just right over one more ridge. And if he would have broke that ridge, Omar would have had him in sight the whole time and watched him walk from 80 to 5 yards. Mm-hmm. So we're just sitting there waiting, and I don't know what was going through your head. I haven't asked you yet, but
I was just like, I had thought back into the conversation that we had a couple of days prior on Wednesday evenings. Like, dude, if he does his routine and we're there, that buck is dead. And so I'm going through that. I'm like, ooh, I'm about to have me a sticker buck.
The thing that goes in my mind in those situations when you're like so close is like you start shaking.
Yeah.
Like I always do, like start getting nervous.
you get ahead of yourself a little bit.
Get ahead of myself, start shaking. So like I like that though because it allows me to calm myself down
for the shot itself.
Because like right when you see the deer, you're gonna get excited. But if I try to get myself excited beforehand, I can get through it and push and get it over with. Kind of.
Yeah.
Like I like getting excited, but I try to get out of my system right away.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if you had any of that going through your mind or anything.
I actually didn't.
Stone cold killer.
Dude, everyone knows probably the story of like me shaking in New Mexico. And
I love that you went to YouTube comments and girls like yelling at Lorenzo for like making fun of him. You were pointing a joke lightheartedly that he was shaking the whole mountain. Like
it was so lighthearted, but in the same breath, I told him like, dude, be jacked up.
Yeah.
You just drew back on a 6-point bull. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then the guy takes that side of the comment. I'm like, bro, what?
I know.
Hell, it's being so nice.
Yeah.
Internet.
Gotta love the internet.
I was like, a little bit nervous. I was like, oh crap, like this is gonna be like probably a good shot at a really nice buck. My first mule deer ever, and he just happens to be a freaking potential slammer of a buck. And so I was like a little bit nervous, but I was also like, all right, like dude, just calm down. Like this is weird. Like we were even like talking to Bones and Jordan like later about like mentally, like how does it feel mentally like, being like so close to those bucks? I was like, dude, once you get over that mental barrier and realize that it's just it's just the same repetition that you've been practicing in the off season.
It's just a deer with antlers. It's just all the same.
Mm-hmm. And you like calm yourself down. You just like kind of get into this instinct where it's just like it's
kill mode.
It's just kill mode. Like this is what I came here to do.
Yeah. And it's the exact definition of bow hunting, because Bones and Jordan, they've been hunting for a long time. They're great hunters. They really are. Like I was impressed with their glassing skills and everything, but they kept saying like, oh dude, I can't wait to see this buck die. I'm like, hold on. Like
you
this
can't
is
get
bow
ahead of
hunting.
yourself.
This is bow hunting. Like it's all perfect right now, but we need it to stay perfect for another 5 minutes.
Yeah. It feels like getting in that at 100 yards is like the first step of many steps.
Yes, and you were 100 yards.
Yeah.
He was the lead buck. You were over that rise. If he would have just been on the top of that rise, you would have seen his antler tips at 100 yards, and you would have watched him walk right to you. So we're looking, and it's like, dude, perfect. He's not going above or below Omar. Nothing. Like this is phenomenal. And in my mind, I'm telling Bones and Jordan like, okay, we still have some uphill battle. Like he still needs to get in range. And I'm looking through the spotter glassing, and I see the buck. He's feeding calm, just kind of has that head bob as he's walking, lead buck. And then I see him go sentry, nose up in the air, and I'm like, oh no. And then I get a text on the phone. I just got a really bad puff of wind. I'm like, oh, hopefully it's not too bad. Like, he's got his nose up. He's stiff sentry, but he wasn't. It wasn't like real jittery or anything. So I'm like, man, maybe it was just a little puff of wind, and now he's going to go above him instead of just right at him. Well, he ends up looking back at the other bucks and sees how far ahead he is, and he didn't like that. So he ran back and got with the other bucks. And they were still vertically in a good spot. Mm-hmm. And I texted Omar, I said, just hold tight. He winded, got some wind. I'm texting him, just hold tight. Well, then they've,
And then I had told you, like, dude, this one is like consistently bad. It's now uphill to my left shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to stay like this.
And it's like consistently giving me a couple puffs every so often, off my left shoulder, not my right. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. And those bucks fed up and went over. And I'm like, well, I don't know. He didn't bump hard. Like, he could just be circled the back of the ridge. Because like I said, they're only 100 yards off the top. I said he could have just circled and still went into the same bedding spot that he usually does. So we'll glass that. We're still in the game. Don't worry about it. Whatever. Well, makes sense.
Yeah.
Because 30 minutes later, get a call on the phone, and he goes, hey, have you guys looked? Omar calls Bones, and he goes, hey, have you guys looked out to the east? I'm like, no, because we can't really see it. We're like blocked out by trees and a ridge. So I kind of like get up off my glass. I walk down so I can see out. I am talking jet black clouds.
Yeah.
Like some of the blackest, darkest clouds I've ever seen. I'm like, oh, that's why the wind switched. Like, rain definitely wasn't in the forecast. Storm wasn't in the forecast. Dude, this storm rolls in.
Oh, man.
White out in the clouds. I mean, we're at 11,000 feet.
Yeah.
So just an absolute drenching rain, total whiteout.
Ugh.
For like hours.
Hours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's why the wind switched. And it all makes sense. Like,
Makes
the storm
sense.
was not in the forecast. Like, I was thinking everything was going to be consistent the whole time. And you got pinned down in the tree.
Yeah, because I mean, like those high timberline trees where they're not big mature trees because, they're so high up. So I'm like, let me get like in this little tree real quick and like try to like stay out the rain as much as possible and wait out the storm. And, you guys were waiting out the storm. And
You were at the very top of the ridge.
I was very top, yeah.
And you had a close call.
And I had a close call, yeah. So I was...
the Bucks did do what I was thinking.
Oh, they looped?
Yeah. So
Bucks do, man.
Yeah. So, I kind of like get up there, and the plan was to like, kind of like get up there and see if I could, because I was at the top, so I could glass the other side and see if those bucks went in there.
We're rolling to come back into that timber patch.
Yeah. And I get up at top, and I had a close call, but it was like in the clouds. Like by now, like the storm is, an hour and a half, 2 hours in.
Yeah.
And I'm like kind of sitting there just like freezing, taking a nap, trying to wait out the storm, eating some food. I ate my sandwich, then I took a nap. Then I wake up, and then there's this buck right next to me at 30 yards. And
Classic.
I just see his butt.
Sleep and wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just see his butt, and then he just like, they're so cool, and they run away too, like just a little leap. I'm like, oh, that's so awesome.
I know, but then when he texts me that, and he goes, it was one of the bucks in the group. I'm like, okay,
If it's one, it's probably all.
We're out now. Like, you bumped him 100 yards off the top, and now you just bumped him again at the top. Like, we're out of the game on those bucks. It's done. So we waited for the storm to clear, and we turned up the 4-point down low. And this is where Omar is. Dude, I watched some shit on that mountain on Saturday that like I have not seen. That very first stock at 720, then the storm. Okay, now this 4 points bedded at the bottom, and I go, okay, you're not gonna like where this buck is, but I have the 4-point turned up. He's in a bed. He's chewing his cud. Storm broke. Sun's out. He's just kind of sunbathing. He's gonna be here for a while. It was cold too all day, so I knew he wasn't gonna get up. And Omar goes, I don't give a shit where he is. Just tell me where he is. I'm here to kill.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, he's about 2,500 feet off the top, and he's down in this. So that east-west basin ran to the southwest, and then had a hogsback ridge, and then another separate basin right to the south of it. If that makes any sense. He was off that hogsback on the south side of that ridge, about as far away as he could be from Omar. Omar's like, cool, I'll be there. Omar was there, like
Trucking.
fast.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how fast.
I had, so before that, like you guys had seen him feeding for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, where he's at? And he's like, oh, he's on this whole other side. So I knew as soon as that storm cleared, like my plan was just to get to the top of the hill.
Yeah.
So that way I could be pretty like fast to where I needed to go.
To where you needed
like,
to be.
Yeah, I was just full kill mode. And then prior to this, I was like, hey, boys, like, yeah, sure, like the sticker buck would be awesome, but like let's just get a mature deer. Like this is my first.
If I'm
archery
being honest,
deer
the 4
hunt.
point's bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
He's a bigger
That's what I thought too when
He's
I
a
saw
bigger
deer scope.
framed deer.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the cheater or the inline, which is cool.
cool.
It's all awesome. It's character on a buck. But this buck's frame was bigger.
yeah, so I instantly was just like, you know what? Like let's
go.
Let's mature deer, like let's
Yeah.
put stocks on them. And
So I on the phone with Omar, storm's cleared. I said, you need to drop. See that hog's back. This, you need to drop. You're going to get to a white rock pile with really sharp rocks at the top. And there's aspen trees that line a sage flat right against that. And go there, put your boots on, everything, and call me when you get there. So he goes down, gets there in no time. I mean, granted, it's all downhill, but still, it was a really long ways. Calls me, okay, I'm here. I said, all right, that white rock, those points of the white rock at the end of the hog's back, there's an aspen tree line that runs it's like a seam line against a scree field and a sage patch. You need to walk that aspen tree line down about 100 yards, and he's going to be off of, there's this juniper tree, all this stuff. He's going to be bedded 15 yards behind that last juniper tree. So Omar starts working in his boots and his stocking boots, everything. Everything's good. The buck's bedded downhill, facing away, all by himself. Like, couldn't be any better. Bones and Jordan once again get going, and I'm like, hold on, boys.
Hold on.
Like, I know we're in the
Not taking
100
hogs
yard.
photos yet.
We're in the 100
were
yard
they like
barrier.
Beavis and Butthead, just like, ooh.
Yes, we're gonna watch a buck die in the spot and scope. I'm like,
You say they're like Beavis and Butthead?
Yeah.
I now that's all I can picture when I think of
It's
Bones and
so
Jordan.
and they're so giddy, and I am just stressed out of my mind because bow hunting, you need everything to be perfect, not just the setup. You need everything else to be perfect as well. So he's working that seam line just perfect. I sent him a text. I said, "Yep, you're working the trees perfect. Just keep going." And gets down, and I see him start ranging in the bino in the spot and scope, and I'm like, "Oh, he must see him." I'm looking, and I'm like, actually, I don't know if he sees him. So kind of keeps going. Buck gets up out of his bed. I'm like, oh shit! Like he needs to go this way, not that way. He needs to go to the right, not the left. Everything ends up going to the left, but then he kind of like J hooks a little bit. Yeah. And I see Omar get his range. I'm like, oh, he's about to shoot. He looks like he's in range. I got him both. The deer and him are both in spotting scope frame. He's got to be close. And no shot. Buck gets in the aspen trees and kind of like feeds off to the south. And now I know there's no shot. And Omar texts me. All I could see was antler tips, no body.
Ouch.
Yeah.
And Bones and Jordan like, I don't understand. It looked like he was 50, whatever. You were 65 or 70 or something like that from the.
Yeah,
It's
65.
always so deceiving.
Which is in range. But what we can't see and what he sees is the way that the vegetation was running. It was all such tall sage that buck needed to kind of keep going to the west even more. And he went more to the south.
Yep.
And so he never gave him enough body to see. And like I said, that's clear at the bottom. What was going through your head on that one? You saw his antler tips.
Yeah, I saw his antler tips. I knew the range. I was like, dude, like, if I had his body right now, this buck is dead.
Yeah.
Like, he would be smoked. Like, he's relaxed feeding at 65
And he was
yards.
quartered away from you, too.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
And I was just kind of bummed out. I was like, well, let's see if I could get a little angle.
Yeah.
But then, I saw him do, like, the whiplashes, and then I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And then, like, he did the whiplashes, and then he stopped, and then he snorted, and then blew out. Like, not tough, but he knew something was up looking at him. Or like,
as you were trying to, like, get an angle on him, he must have heard something. And he ran to the south and picked up 2 other little bucks. Didn't push hard because he had no idea what was going on. But that's when I called Omar, and this is where, like, he's growing out of the young Omar phase. I called him. I'm like, dude, you were so close. Nice job, the whole deal. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to the top. Just let me know where the next buck is. I'm like, okay. Like, wasn't
Yeah,
upset.
That's pretty
Wasn't
awesome.
beat down. He's like, just tell me where I need to be next. I said, well, if you're going to the top, just get to the top, and we'll see if this 4-point rebeds, see these other bucks come around. J Hook, even though you bumped him off the top. So we're sitting there glassing, and the 4-point rebeds. I'm like, dude, now he's to the canyon even further to the south, but he's rebedded. He's facing downhill, and he's 150 yards above those 3 other bucks. It's like, cool, I'll be there. So this is like the half a stock, I want to call it, but you still like drop some vertical, was going that way. And Jordan, I got to give credit where credit's due. Jordan picked up every single buck that we saw that day. In the first 4-point, the first time we turned him up was an amazing spot. Well, this 3x4 that he picked up, there was like 4 inches of a main beam sticking out of a aspen tree patch, and he picked it up. So as Omar's halfway to the second stock on the 4-point, he's bedded out in this huge sage bowl, but it was so steep, and he was bedded downhill, and I saw this rock outcropping. I'm like, dude, there's maybe a chance. Like you might get a shot at this thing if he does get out of his bed and go a certain way. And Omar again was like, cool, I'll do it. Like, just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
So he's bombing off again, like changing back to his hiking boots, going. He didn't stop walking the entire day. It was absolutely incredible. I know we're making it sound like all this is happening fast, but you got to remember, I mean, there's 2,500 to 3,000 foot elevation drops in what he's doing here. So it's taking a long time in between all these stocks.
I just envision Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
And Omar's just constantly running.
Dude, he's just
the whole thing.
constantly going.
Just never stopping.
And his attitude, sending me texts like, bro, don't worry. Just tell me where to be. I'm like, all right, trying not to kill you, but it's a big basin. So he's halfway through the stock, and I call him. I'm like, dude, the 3x4 is by himself. And Jordan, to his credit, not only did he find him, he also was like, dude, I really think you need to look at this buck. I think we should go after this one. And I'm like, yeah, this 4-point, I've seen him. He's a good buck. It's like, dude, I just took a digiscope. You need to look at this.
Yeah.
So he hands it to me, and I look at it, and I'm like, holy shit, that was with the sticker buck? He's like, yeah, it was one of the bucks in the sticker buck group. He had J-hooked.
Yeah.
He had come around and went back to the timber
I'm pretty
patch.
sure it's the buck that I bumped when I was in that rainstorm.
And it's weird that he got bumped twice, and he's the only one that did make it back to his home. But dude, this deer's old. I'm talking like 8 years old, big old pot belly, like gnarly bases. He's old, so he obviously didn't want to be away from his home. And so Omar's halfway to the second stock on the 4-point. I call him like, dude, this buck's all by himself in his aspen patch. Couldn't be better. Mm-hmm. Because I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at Bones. Some people out there might know this already, but Bones and Jordan, I was showing them, like, dude, anytime you're in a straight line to these animals, you can range and work and do math to see if you can get Omar in range or the hunter in range.
Yeah.
So I'm doing math, and I'm like, okay, if I drop Omar from that, there's a 3-trunk cedar tree at the top. They're all bare white trunks. You can't miss that. It's the only one like it. So I know he'll find that landmark. If I drop him down straight from that, and I get him in the first patch of aspens, that buck's in the second, and I'm doing math, like it's 55 yards. Like he should be in bow range, right? So I'm doing all the math. It's 1,280 yards to the first patch. It's 13 whatever to the second patch. I'm like, okay, that's bow range. So I call you, and I'm like, dude, I think we're going to change the plans. I'm sorry. I know you're halfway to that 4-point again, but you need to go back to the top. Like this buck, it's windy. It is so windy, and he's in an aspen patch. And obviously,
they're noisy.
Noisy as can be.
Yep.
So I'm like, this is our best option. We have 3 hours left of light today, and we have a half a day tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Like if we're going on odds, what's the 4-point or this buck? Like the odds of killing this 3x4 are way better. He's like, okay, I'll get to the top. I'll call you when I'm there. So he had already put in half a stock to the 4-point. Now he's 3,000 vertical back to the top, comes across the ridge and calls me when he gets to that scree pile. I said 100 yards off that scree pile on the top of the ridge, there's a 3-trunk cedar tree, all white trunks, and none of them have any limbs on it. Find that. He goes, yep, I got it. I go, he's 168 yards off the top is what my rangefinder says. Mm-hmm. So range some stuff down there, get your, vertical of what 168 yards is. I said, when you get to 100 yards, there's going to be like a circle of aspen trees. If you get to the top of that, he's in the bottom of that, and he should be within bow range. So hang up the phone, watch Omar, puts his stocking shoes on. You have your puffy jacket on, which I thought was a little
On the I was
loud.
It was cold after all that
so
sweat
cold
and the wind.
after all the sweat. Yeah, that's what it was.
I figured.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's a bold strategy to stalk a mule deer with a puffy jacket on.
Did I kill it with the puffy?
Yes.
It's a great way to destroy your puppy too.
Great way. But it was freezing
Yeah,
cold.
it was freezing.
I was shivering. Sorry I'm taking over the commentary here, but I'm just speaking from my angle because I saw the whole thing go down. But he starts going down, and he's working his way. He keeps watching him take his binos out. And by the way, to not leave this out of the story, we cannot see the buck bedded. We just think he's there.
I think he's there, yeah.
Because he didn't come out to the left or the right, so we think he's bedded there. Omar gets to, I don't know, maybe like 100 is what it looked like, and we get a text. I can see his antlers. I'm like, ooh, perfect. So now you can see him in his bed. We can't. This is all you. Go for it.
Yep.
So I just sat back, started digiscoping and watching, and here's the young Omar. It came out again.
A debacle.
Yeah, the Omar debacle. First was the puffy jacket, which it is freezing, so I might let that one slide. But I'm watching him, pull up his binos, walk 10 steps, pull up his binos, put him back down, walk 10 steps. I'm watching him cut the distance. And then all of a sudden I see him, and I see a big object fall. Like, I just noticed something fall, and I see Omar look down at his feet. I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what happened, but I don't know if the buck is up. I don't know what just happened, but I don't think he's in range. I watched him walk 3-4 steps, pick up the binos from the ground, and then put him back up to his eyes.
Acting like nothing happened.
I'm like, holy shit, dude, he just dropped his binos. While he's stalking the deer, he just dropped his binos, rolling down the hill.
Yeah.
And it's steep, crazy steep too.
Are these the same ones?
Yes.
That
Yes.
Omar allegedly
There's a second drop.
dropped on our
dropped
bear
off
hunt?
a cliff,
Off a
yes.
cliff?
I'm going to confirm the first drop right now.
You're gonna confirm it?
Well,
Omar's rough on
Lorenzo,
binos.
I'm borrowing them from Lorenzo, and he doesn't keep the tether on there.
They're for 5-year-olds.
And
Tethers are amazing.
I love
You gotta have one on the left
just
side.
one.
Yeah.
The tethers are for
So I'm
5-year-olds.
half blaming this on you.
The tethers are for 5-year-olds.
And I'm a
If you can't
5-year-old.
put-
I tether always.
If you can't
Yes.
put your binos back safely in your harness, what are you doing?
Well, the
But,
reason
but it's for the times you lean over forward.
it's for yes. So the reason I like the tether is because it's stalking in with the magnet. That magnet spooks me. That's gonna clap super loud, and then spook out a buck. So that's
Just put it
my
on
reasoning.
softly.
Sorry. So the binos fall out.
So anyway, we're laughing, and then he goes back to stalking and pulls out his rangefinder. I'm like, oh shit, that buck must not have bounced. This
Which is awesome. The wind.
And I'm watching the wind just rip through these aspen trees. I'm like, this could be really good. It's got to be so loud in there. And that's why I wanted to send him on this buck instead of the buck out in the sages.
Yeah.
It has to be so loud.
Yeah,
where
those
this buck is
leaves are
bedded.
just constantly.
And they're just, I'm talking ripping through there. It had been blowing 30 or 40 miles an
Yeah.
hour right there. And I'm watching him work in. And I text you because I just can't stand not being there in the moment. This is the shitty part about being on glass and away from the hunt is I want to know. I want to be there with you. I made a rookie mistake and I text him is everything good? How far are you? And all he sends back is 55 period. Need to focus. And I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't have, I broke his focus, but he's right. I
told
need
you
to
where to put it.
yeah. And I told Bones and Jordan, he's right. We just need to sit here. No text, no nothing. He needs to be in the moment. So we sat there and watching. And like I said, we can't see the buck, so I don't know which way he's facing. I don't know anything. And then all of a sudden, I'm sitting back because I'm digiscoping off the BTX. I can't see anything. It's kind of grainy in my phone. So I'm sitting back. I go to get some snacks or whatever. I can't remember what I was doing, but I was so amped up. My heart's pounding through my chest. I hear Bones and Jordan. He stood up. Oh, he's drawn back. I'm like, oh shit. So I run and grab the SIG 14s, post them up, stabilized mode, and I'm watching. I'm like, he shot. And the buck whips, and I see fletchings out of his body. And I'm like, oh, he shot. He hit him. I'm watching this buck run maybe 40 yards, and it's so steep. And this buck does like a triple front flip. Like, and me, Bones, and Jordan are going nuts on the hillside. I want to get to you.
I guarantee you, Bones is
They
loud.
They were going nuts on the hillside.
Yeah, they have a lot of energy.
And then I get a call from Omar. Pick up the phone. I'm like, bro, congrats. I have it on video because my phone is recording Digiscope, and I'm talking on Bones's. It's hilarious. He's so calm. Omar is so calm. All he goes, hey, is he dead? I'm like,
He's like,
what?
"Hey."
Yes, he's dead. And then all of a sudden, fuck yeah. And then Omar starts freaking out. It was awesome.
I want to just like go back to my angle as I'm stalking in real quick. So yeah, I couldn't miss that what was a 3-branch like
Yeah, the 3-trunk white
cedar. Yeah,
cedar is the only one on the mountain like
so I knew exactly where.
And I said you need to drop vertically just straight from there. Not off of it.
By the way, it comes so handy when you like have someone like you that knows how to drop people in.
Yeah.
Because if you have any just regular Joe Schmo, it's tough still, you know. And you did a great job of guiding me directly to where I needed to go.
But it also takes somebody who knows, like, when I put him there, I said, you need to find something 168 yards off the top. So you know vertically where you need to be. And so he knew he did all that on his own. I just said, from that tree, you can't be left or right. You need to go straight down from that tree.
Yeah.
And so he knew exactly the 168 yards, to get in range. It was awesome.
Yeah. So I was like probably like at 80 when I saw that buck, 80, 75. I hadn't ranged yet because I felt like it was a little bit out of my distance. So like I knew I needed to stalk in, and kind of like the way that buck was, his antlers were pointed right at me the whole time. So I was kind of playing like a little risky, but I was like, I'm not going to take a long bomb shot if I feel that I could get pretty close in on this buck.
You said it was loud over there too.
Yeah, and it was loud. Yeah, it was loud, and I felt like, I dropped my freaking binos, and he didn't spook out, which I thought for sure that was going to be the end of that.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, so I was kind
I have
of
it
just
on
like
film, by the way.
Yeah,
That's on
I
Digiscope.
can't wait to see this.
I have proof of that.
And I'm kind of like, there's like this like kind of like small saplings of like a group of saplings of aspens that kind of covered my body, but I had to stay really low. So I like ninja crawled like in there and like kind of like worked my way, like would like peek through my binos every couple yards, make sure that buck's like still calm. And then finally to where I got, we're like, all right, this is gonna be, if I get a shot, this is gonna be where it's coming from. I get there and I'm just like, calm down, everything. I'm a little excited, so like I'm arranging everything, and like I can't see the body obviously, so I'm like trying to get his antlers, and perfectly this buck is bedded in front of a tree, like a yard. So I ranged the tree, looked at my binos, all right, yeah, it's a tree that I'm ranging, 56. I'm like, all right, so it's gonna be a 55-yard shot. So I just gotta wait here till this buck stands up. And when he finally does, like that's when I'm gonna get my move. I have a clear shooting lane, like nothing's gonna be in the way. Like there's some sapling, it's gonna be a tightish shot, but like this is.
Are you standing or are you kneeling?
Right now I'm kneeling, but I knew I wanted to stand when like that buck got up.
Yeah.
I just felt like the most comfortable. I probably could have done it kneeling. I was going back and forth in my head, but I was like, no, like just stand up. And the way he stood up was actually perfect because he stood up totally broadside, looking straight ahead, and I was up top. And then once I stood up and drew back, it wasn't until I drew back that he like looked at me. So he looked at me, and I knew I just had to like settle in, get that bubble all right, had everything done prior to. I knew that I wasn't doing any guesses on the shot, nothing. I just had to kind of go through my form and go through the execution, burn the boats that I actually drew on my bow, my little mantra. So I went through that in my head and calmed the mental, and then shot him. And then right away I just saw red, and I was like, okay, this is like probably a dead buck, but I didn't see him go down.
Yeah,
it's so steep. Yeah. So I call Lorenzo, and I'm like, hey, watch that buck. He's dead.
No,
He's like,
you were not that excited.
Yeah.
You literally just pick up, hey, is he dead? I'm like, what? Yes.
And then I got excited.
Then you got really excited.
And then I've never like wanted to cry. I didn't cry, but like that's the closest, because it was the hardest hunt I've ever done by a long shot. I was telling Lorenzo, like, dude, there's never been sheep hunting, but this is exactly what I think a bow hunt chasing sheep would feel like. You're just going up and down and up and down. Not to mention the 7 days that I just spent getting my freaking ass handed
kicked,
to me.
yeah.
With low water in the back, like it was just a mental grind. But I mean, it was like, so like this is probably like one of like the hunts that I was like really looking forward. I look forward to like every hunt, but like one hunt that I was like, oh sweet, like a awesome tag in my home state, chasing mule deer, and then not only just any mule deer, like these are mature bucks that I'm seeing, and I'm seeing deer every single day. I'm putting stalks in every day.
Yeah.
So I was like excited when it finally came together, because for a little bit there I was like, dude, I don't know, like you might have bit off a little more than you could chew, but you know, having that crew come in and really help me with getting in tight, that was awesome.
I told Bones and Jordan too on our side on the glass. I mean, we were in glass for 9 hours that day, like literally 9 hours. We were in glass because when we did bet a buck, we stayed on them, making sure they didn't move. When we didn't see bucks, we were watching Omar to see where he was. Like, it was constant. And Bones and Jordan were kind of getting down. And I'm like, listen, why would we kill a buck at 7:30 in the morning, first stock, or kill the 4-point at 1:20 in the afternoon when we have all day, everything's going to be good? So I'm telling you guys right now, we're killing a buck at last light, and we're going to have to hike to the top of that mountain to help Omar peel that off, and we're going to get to the trucks at 4 in the morning. So I'm just telling you, that's the way it's going to go. That's hunting.
Manifested it.
Well, guess what?
That's what happened.
Killed that buck at 7:30 at night. I hike off from the glassing knob at 7:29. Make it to Omar. This is another part of Omar just being a straight savage. He's like, I'm going to go get camp. I want to be done tonight. I'm like, cool. His camp's like 3.5 miles away. So he hoofs it to camp. Me and Jordan are just sitting there eating, hanging out. Like, takes 2 hours for him to get back. Now he's got full camp on his back. Get the deer loaded up, hit our camp, which is thankfully just, vertically 3,000 foot lower, but it's downhill the whole way, so whatever. We get our camp, and all of us look at each other. We're like, dude, let's just bomb to the trucks tonight.
Yeah.
We got to the trucks at 2:55, so I was an hour and 5 minutes off. Not a bad guess.
Not a bad guess at all.
One thing I thought was really funny is, like you said, how Omar wasn't completely jacked up when you talked to him right away, and he kind of got excited.
Yeah.
So I was literally at a movie theater with my girlfriend. Like, I would get there early when I go to movies. It's only like the second movie I've ever been to in the last 5 years.
You like the pre-rolls.
I like all the pre-stuff.
No. I hate those.
I love it also. I make sure we get there really early. All of a sudden, I just had put my phone on Do Not Disturb, but like Omar, since he's a homie, he's on my favorite list, so it actually comes through.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I got a call from Omar, and my girlfriend's like, oh, like answer it, like just walk out, because all the previews are going on, not the movie yet.
Yeah.
So I literally walk out. My favorite section is seeing all the new movies that are coming out. Like, they're showing the Aliens. Literally, they're showing the Aliens preview, and obviously the Aliens is in the theaters, and I love Aliens, so I wanted to watch it. But I'm like, Omar's calling me. I gotta go out there. So I go outside. Omar's like, shot a buck. I'm like, yeah. I was all jacked up. But he's like, he wasn't quite
jacked
fully
up
excited yet.
Yeah.
And like, he's walking me through it, telling me about it. I'm like, dude, that's freaking awesome. Like, the coolest thing ever. And he like acted so calm throughout the whole thing. But that was just like really funny, like just how dead calm he was. I was trying to jack him up, like, dude, that's fucking awesome. Like, you shot a deer, like, you worked hard at this, like, you got it done, stalked it, shot it.
Yeah.
Velvet buck, first buck in this state, first mule deer ever. But then the coolest thing is, though, it's just I wanted to get back to this. He did tell me, I was like, so mule deer better than elk? And he's like, well, mule deer are really, really, really cool. This was the hardest thing. So I'm like, they're better than elk then. He's like, this was freaking awesome hunt.
So
he was kind of hinting at it, that they were better in a way.
I knew that was going to be it, because so when I got to him on the buck, like after that slog of a vertical hike, like unreal. And
in the dark.
And he had already done it, 4 times now, by the way. This is just my first time doing it. It was a slog of a hike. I get there and I'm like, dude, congrats. Very first thing he says to me, bro, you and I should go on a mule deer hunt next, not an elk hunt.
Yeah.
I look at him, I'm like, what? Like, no, dude, I like being able to call them in. I don't want to stalk them in their beds.
Yeah,
calling them in is way cooler.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, archery spot and stock mule deer is one of the hardest things.
It's
like,
hard.
No doubt.
It is the hardest.
You talk to
thing.
anyone too who's bow hunted, will say that. Like, yeah, elk hunting is hard.
Dude, killing
like a mule deer, because they can't call them. You have to glass. If it's raining, you can't see, you can't kill them. Like,
everything has to be perfect.
Yeah, they're on edge all the time, like we're talking about.
And what was so perfect about this is the wind was good. It was consistent because it was the tail end of the storm, and it was howling. And in the aspen trees, all the noise, like the mountain was so vertical, and everything was in line, so I could do the math with my rangefinder first to give him the confidence that he was going to be in range. Like, all that was perfect. And then he had to stand up perfect.
Yeah.
Which he did, thankfully, right? But that's that. With bow hunting mule deer, all of that has to line up. With elk, You can call them in. You can force some things. You can
kind of get lucky sometimes.
You can get, you know.
It's-
But
yeah.
with mule deer, it is the hardest thing because all of it has to be right.
Feels like mule deer hunting just feels like. I felt like I just like got done studying at Stanford
Yeah.
and like had like a
Yeah.
crazy proper education. Whereas like elk hunting's like just went to UCLA and joined a
Not
frat.
even maybe Montana.
Eastern Washington where I
You
went.
can- yeah, you can force some stuff. You can your archery skills don't have to be quite as sharp
Yeah.
for elk, for archery elk. For mule deer, high country mule deer, you have got to be a legit skillful archer.
Yeah, everything. Like it just like everything, like kind of like the stalk. Like getting into 100 yards is the first step like, into a lot of steps going your way.
Yeah.
And cutting off, you know, what at 45 more yards that I needed to cut off to get to 55.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just an absolute mountain. And then to be holding like a freaking mature buck.
Dude, this thing's honestly,
Yeah, it's a stud.
This thing's a tank. Like now, with all the dust settled, because I never looked at that 3x4 because he was with the sticker buck. I didn't even know what he was with other than that big 2-point because that was the one he was always right next to. But now, with this deer on the ground and looking back at the videos, this is by far the deer that runs that mountain. I mean, he's got to be 8+ years old.
Yeah.
And his bases are 6.5 inches, knobby, gnarly. Like he's just a gut hanging.
Did you say,
So
did you say
cool.
his teeth for me?
Yeah.
No.
Did you?
Well, I have his hand at
lower jaw?
taxidermist.
Oh yeah, I didn't pull his teeth.
yeah.
but we
Yeah,
could.
pull those teeth.
This thing is
I'll have Calvin pull him.
this buck's a tank of a deer, which is probably why we never really looked at him because his, like his horns didn't look. Sorry, antlers, Brady, didn't look quite.
You got yourself.
I did again. Didn't look quite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the other bucks were younger and kind of looked. I don't know, just prospectively. But dude, this buck is a tank of a deer.
I was watching Digiscope in the shower. Might be a little TMI. I was just like,
I don't want to know what you were doing. But
I was just reflecting back on the hunt. And I was like looking at some Digiscope of like the first time I saw that sticker buck. Guess who's right behind him? That 3x4.
really
just
it is?
like being the big dog.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was the dude who ran that.
Yeah.
mountain for sure. That's why he was the first one back too.
Yeah, I could be more pumped. Getting a freaking awesome velvet deer. Your first one's a stud. It's not like any buck's a good buck, but you shot a giant
A stud.
as
Yeah.
your first mule deer ever.
He's
Did
got
it with
40
the bow, which is hard.
40+ inches of mass on a mule deer. Like it's no joke. That buck's a stud.
Yeah. The hardest thing for me though is obviously I'm play by play the whole week through the phone and talking to you and all that stuff. Is like after he called me on the phone, I was like, yeah, I'm jumping back into the movie, but like soak it up when you can. But please text me a photo because I knew he had service. I'm like, he'll text me a photo. I got out of the movie. I opened my phone. Nothing from Omar.
I sent you a photo eventually.
The next morning, I had to go to sleep all night.
Dude, that's
and wake up the
rude.
next morning.
Well, we had no
to get a photo.
service. That's the problem. That's the. I
It's
don't
like
think
the
we
one
mentioned
area Omar doesn't have service.
it. At the bottoms, you don't have service.
At the bottoms, you don't.
Because I got back and it was like 3 a.m. I was like looking at everything. I was like, oh, I wish I could text like,
gotta
my
get-
friends right
But
now.
it was honestly worth it because then when I think I woke up and you had already texted, like, and I was like, it was worth the wait to see that
Yeah.
photo and see a bunch.
I
of
was just pumped I was there. I was so pumped.
I was pumped you guys were there. It was so exciting. I got another like breath of energy when you guys showed up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could tell.
Yeah, I was like, sweet. Like
Makes
freaking
it-
my
makes it
guys are
good.
here.
And he
Like
called us C team.
I was just joking.
Yeah, resupplied you with some food, got you motivation,
Yeah.
there to help out. You were patient, didn't push the envelope when you didn't need to.
Yeah,
got
but-
in there, did all those stocks like you did.
Yeah.
How much? Like if you look back and had your Garmin on the whole time, see how much vert you did. You did a lot of vert that
Oh,
day.
it was nuts.
Yeah.
Like I told him when I first got to him in the deer, I'm like, dude, I've seen some shit, but like I am genuinely impressed. Like
Yeah.
that was,
and you never got discouraged.
I'm like, bro, you are such a savage. That was wild. Never was down, never was out, like always ready to roll, was everywhere quick. Like that was some savage shit right there. That
Yeah.
was wild. And we have some really cool audio that we should make into clips because of the phone call. Because I'm running Digiscope, so all of it's on there. It was really cool. Omar was like, dude, I've learned so much on this hunt. Like I'm becoming a legitimate archer. Like I know what I've done in the past and what I'm doing now is like I'm getting so much better as an archer. And to hear him talk through that, I listened to it on my phone. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Like to talk through all that shit he said. It was awesome.
Even like, not to blow myself up or like have myself up, but like since everything was like he got the shot, and I like the first thing I noticed was when I was looking at my form when I shot, and it's pretty perfect, like the follow through and everything.
Dude, it's solid.
Really?
Bo just tips forward. Like everything was solid. It was awesome.
Which a lot of times, like that's
Yeah, most people
shot,
like
yeah.
break it off to the side.
Blacked out in that moment.
Yeah.
No, he released, hand touches shoulder, Bo just falls forward. Like it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean,
My
it's
guy.
so fun. And I got a new bow now that I'm gonna get ready for
Yeah.
our elk hunt. But dude, that was it was so fun, and like it was like such an unconventional hunt because it like was a solo hunt and then turned into like you guys coming
Yeah.
and just like this
And that
giant
was-
story.
That was the grindiest day and a half I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Like ever.
Yeah, and the super late pack out, always fun.
Oh,
Hanging out with
dude.
homies, celebrating.
And then I told him too, I'm like, so why did I go intentionally heavy? Because on the way out, like, dude, I was heavy on the way out.
It's like
God
80,
damn it.
90, close to 100.
Oh,
for
in
sure.
the protein shake.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
got down off the mountain. That's what we got down off the mountain and I'm like hiking, you know how you just kind of think about shit. I'm like, dude, I have 2 protein shakes ice cold in the river. Like I'm going to cheers them when I get down there. A little congratulations. So we get down there and I pull him out. I'm like, hey, you want a protein shake? He's like, oh my God, yes.
Probably the best thing ever.
Oh my God, yes.
the best ones too.
They're
The
so
core
good.
or whatever they're called.
The Fairlife.
Fairlife,
They were
yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
The vanilla one's my favorite.
Yeah. Anyways, that was fun, man. It was a lot of fun.
Got
Nice
back.
work, Omar.
Thank you.
I'm proud
Shout
of
out
you.
to the
Went out there, accomplished the goal, did your research.
He's a legit savage,
Got
man.
it done.
I'm genuinely impressed, and I'm not just gassing him up. That was incredible.
we got this hat too. Big bucks, good times was exactly what happened.
That is exactly what happened.
Big bucks, good times. That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
We got to the truck at 2:55.
255.
I was asleep. My Whoop data. I was asleep at 3:10. Woke up at 6:10. Just ready to roll. Guess how recovered I was after a day and a half like that?
Like 15%.
14.
Yeah.
14% recovered. It's exactly what you want to see after a hunt. You know, you put in some work.
And then, like the best part about hunting is you get a couple free cheap meals after something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So the next day, well, that night we're like, dude, is anything open tonight? Like if we get to the trucks, like let's go somewhere late. Nothing was open.
Well, you wanted to go to
Truck
McDonald's.
stop.
And I told Omar, I said, I am not doing McDonald's. Like, I'll have a cheat meal with you right now. I ain't doing that shit, though.
Yeah.
No way.
So I was like, dang. Jordan was hyped. He was
He
like,
was
yeah,
hyped.
Big Mac.
We went to the diner in Caliente the next day. Like, we drove more than halfway home, and we all ordered double breakfast.
yeah.
Double order. It was great.
Orange juice, Diet Coke, coffee.
Well, you're Mexican. You had to get the sugar. You
crushed.
had to.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then it's cool too, because like Caliente is such like a hunter town.
Yeah.
So like
Ran into a bunch of other hunters we
yeah,
know talking about their
congratulations.
stories.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
And then yeah,
Literally couldn't have worked out better.
yeah, I was.
I heard the funny story though of since your AC doesn't work, if anyone rides with Omar, you're gonna pretty much die in the summer because his
Yeah.
AC barely blows out. It turns on, but like the fan on high doesn't come out.
Yeah.
So he put the rack in your truck
Yes.
and left your truck running the whole time while you guys were in
Correct.
getting breakfast.
And there was
Because
like-
you want to preserve the velvet.
Yes. And there was like 1,000 ticks in my front seat, literally. So I told my wife when I got home, I said, hey, the kids aren't riding in my truck until I get it cleaned. Like, I don't want, there's ticks everywhere.
Was it that bad?
Yes.
Gosh,
You see, Omar, we just can't get away from the ticks.
No.
Spring bear hunting, early season mule deer.
freaking everywhere, man.
Yeah.
Ticks. Yeah. And
But
took him
God
to,
dang, that was fun. Take me back, man. I don't want to be back in Vegas in the office.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Mule deer. They're fun, especially in like a state like Nevada where you could hunt them August 10th
Yeah.
through
So
September
early.
9th.
Oh, now
But
we're
hey, now
talking
you're,
states.
Well, I'd say it's home state.
we're hunting this weekend again, though.
Yeah, we are.
We'll be back for another hunt recap next week.
Oh,
Got an archery antelope hunt this week.
oh, heck yes. And we still got to
That's
do.
gonna be fun.
Yeah, you guys are going. Yeah, antelope hunting, which is always a blast. It's
Yeah.
good times. And then Porter and I were out hunting on his PIW tags. We got a lot of recap going on there.
Yeah,
And
you guys found some good bucks.
we got to try to continue that story the whole time, like because he's obviously has a tag that he can hunt a lot of different, weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's only the start of his hunt. But yeah, we were grinding for five days, I think. 6 days.
I want to hear you guys do potentially a podcast on that or like a series on
Series,
Yeah,
yeah.
we
that's
need to do a
going.
series on that one.
Yep. So we have a lot of good things. I'm going scouting this weekend, so I'm finally getting out there for my own tags. So
Let's go, Brady.
I'm excited.
Going to Mexico.
Going to Mexico.
Nice.
Yep.
Spain.
Spain.
That's where I do all my hunting lately.
Yeah.
High country of Mexico.
There you go.
So yeah, we got a lot of cool things coming up.
Well,
So,
that was a long one, but it was fun.
yeah, so that was good to do a hunt recap. So
How long was that?
218 right now.
218.
218. Congrats again, Omar.
Thank you.
We'll do it again next week.
Yeah. See you next time.
Best luck this weekend.